Bit about myself for those of you who don't know me or who were not on that Thursday evening call. I have been in real estate investing for over 20 years now. Prior to that point, I was working in the financial sector, so I worked in the banking and the barter industry. And so I spent about 20 years doing that. I was working 60, 80 hours a week. I was putting 100,000 miles a year on my vehicle. I was pretty much fed up with it. And so I decided to kind of get out of the corporate America situation. And I was actually up late one night watching one of those late night infomercials on how to buy houses with no money down. And I thought, yeah, right. Wouldn't it be cool if that really worked? And one of my clients who actually was one of my customers ran our local real estate club meeting in Tampa, Florida. I am from the west coast of Florida. Um, and so I called him on the phone and I said, hey, what do you think about this real estate investing stuff? And he said, come to one of our meetings and make that determination for yourself. And so that's kind of what we did. And that's how I got into real estate investing full time. Quit my job. My husband quit his job, and the rest has been history. We've done hundreds of deals over the last 20 years. And we take whatever comes at us. And that's one of the pieces of advice that I'd like to give you. Don't lock yourself into any one particular niche. If a deal comes at you and the deal makes sense and it's a win-win between you and the seller, do the deal. So we like single family homes. We like urban commercial. Of course, we love vacant land. And today I get a chance to tell you all about that part of our business. We do those wobbly boxes down here in Florida. That's mobile homes. That's what we call those down here. We do some small multifamily. So we do just kind of a little bit of everything, whatever what comes at us and makes sense to do the deal. So that's what I'd like you to do. We're going to cover a lot of really, really good information today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is developing systems in your business. So you're going to save yourself time, energy, and money. And that's really, really important. And we're going to talk a lot about developing systems to keep everything in your business moving even when you're not around. So why use direct mail marketing in the first place? So I wanted to cover the direct mail marketing and kind of an overlay from what we did on Thursday night. So cultivate the exact type of lead that you're looking for in a specific price range or area that you want to be working in. You control the number of letters that go out, when they go out, and specifically to whom they're targeted. You see, that's going to be something that's really, really important. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. Is every type of marketing that you're going to be doing, you're going to use very specific targeted types of marketing to find these sellers. And then within the body of your letter, I want you to use a response mechanism. Nobody in the world does that but me, and I don't get it. Everybody sends out the generic, hey, I want to buy your house kind of stuff. And it's ineffective. It's completely ineffective, and it's a waste of your marketing dollars. I want you to use a response mechanism in the body of your letter that tells the seller exactly what it is you want them to do and what information you need in order to determine whether or not there's a deal to be made. If you take the time to do that, then most of the deals that hit your desk are already going to be pre-screened for you. And that's really important. And we're going to be talking more about that today. And then you're going to reach prospective sellers and lenders who would never learn about your message in any other way. So let's talk about target prospects. These are the prospects that I particularly like to work with in my business. Now, while we're talking about targeted prospects, think about what your demographic is. I know a lot of you are in North Carolina, but I know that we have folks from other parts of the country as well. So be thinking about what your demographic is. Where do you live? What kinds of sellers do you have? So I'll give you an example. I live down here in Florida. I'm in the geriatric capital of the world. And I can say that because I'm moving in that direction myself. And so we have a lot of out-of-state owners. We have a lot of vacationers. We have a lot of seniors who are moving into nursing homes, assisted living, things like that. We do a lot of estate and probate here. So that's what my demographic looks like. We have people transferring in and out of the state for jobs. And so we look at our demographic all the time to make sure that we're targeting the right kinds of sellers who are more likely to sell us their home. So let's look at that. First of all, out-of-state owners. And in North Carolina, I know you have a lot of those, just like I do here in Florida, because you have a lot of folks who either bought a home to retire to, or they bought it as a vacation home, and now they're ready to sell that property. And those are really, really good leads for you. Number two, quitclaim deeds. This is where you're going to find those estate and probate properties. And these are also very good deals for you. Number three, farming areas by zip code. Now, basically, I do that in two different ways. There are two types of sellers that I like to target to with the zip code mailing. One are luxury properties, because folks, luxury properties simply mean bigger paychecks. The other are those good middle income areas, because no matter what you're going to do with that property, whether you're going to wholesale it, whether you're going to rent it, lease option it, retail it, whatever you're going to do, lots of folks want to live in these areas. So those are really good areas for you to be prospecting in. Number four, multifamily dwellings. Now, for those of you who are looking to build long-term income for your business, the multifamily dwelling is a really good direct mail campaign to implement. Now, when we start working together today, I actually have a resource for you who will give you the list based on the number of units per building that you're looking for in your business. So if you're looking for duplexes, triplexes, quads, small apartment complexes, big apartment complexes, you can customize that list to bring you exactly what you're looking for. And then number five, hard to find sellers, the vacant and abandoned properties. Folks, if you are not working vacant properties, you are missing the boat. Guys, these are free leads for starters, and you're going to see them everywhere that you're driving. So as you're driving different areas, make sure that you are looking for those vacant properties. The more difficult it is for you to find the owner of that vacant property, the better a deal you're going to make. So make sure that you're looking for those. Write down the address, take a photograph of that property, and then get home and start looking for the owner of that property. And we have some resources for some really great skip trace services that we use in our business. So real easy generally to find the owners of these vacant properties. Number six, pre-foreclosures. I don't know how many of you are working the pre-foreclosure market, but there are some really good deals there to be made. And the pre-foreclosures that I am talking about are the ones that none of your competitors know anything about. And they're sort of a byproduct of those estate and probate properties. So here's what happens. Generally speaking, when a person dies, the mortgage company does not initially file lis pendens or notice of default because they know their borrower is dead. So now you've got a property that's gone to probate, or it's been inherited by an heir with a mortgage that's not in their name and a mortgage payment that is behind. Do you not think these are an ideal situation for a short sale? Yes or yes? Absolutely. I'll tell you about one that I'm working on right now. We're actually in the middle of the short sale. It was actually a vacant house that I found, and I used a skip trace service. They found the owner of the property. I gave her a call, and she lives in Michigan. The home is here in Florida. And she and her dad had a falling out. And she said, I don't care what you do with the house. I don't care if it falls down. So she ended up deeding us that home for the balance of the mortgage. And we ended up doing the proper paperwork, and we ended up creating a short sale on that particular property. Now, her dad has been dead for a year and a half. The bank never filed lis pendens or notice of default. Okay, so these are the deals that none of your competitors know anything about. One of the things you're going to find as we're talking today and as I'm going over all this stuff is that I am all about finding the properties that nobody else knows about, that none of your competitors know anything about. And so that's going to be really cool. So make sure that you take some really good notes today. Number seven, military transfers. Now, this is an ideal situation for you to grow your business and grow equity in your business and do a public service at the same time. Here's what happens. The military woos these men and women in, tells them they're going to be stationed somewhere 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever that might be. They use their VA certificate. They buy a home off base. They bring their family. They get all moved in. They get all comfy. And 6 months later, they get transferred somewhere else. Now they have a home and a mortgage that they neither want nor need, and they are stuck between a rock and a hard place because they just bought this property. They just paid pretty much full retail for it, and they can't afford to write a big check for closing costs and realtor fees. So they just don't know what to do. These are an ideal situation for you to have a property deeded to you for the balance of the mortgage. But obviously, we're going to have to let these homes gain some equity, right? Because they just paid pretty much full retail. Well, let me tell you that working with the military is like working with Section 8 on steroids. What you're going to end up doing is either leasing or lease optioning these properties. And so we work a lot with the military to put people back into these homes. So the military will help you to find the person to go into your property. The military takes the money out of their paycheck bi-weekly for your rent, and they deposit it into your checking account once a month. If that person damages your property, guess who they have to answer to? Their superior officer, not you. Folks, this is awesome. And actually, I discovered this particular technique when my son was stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. I still own property in Jacksonville, North Carolina that I haven't seen for a couple of years, but what I do see are nice government deposits going into my checking account every single month. So if you haven't been doing military transfers, you absolutely need to add that to your toolbox. Number 8, getting the deed. Again, another direct mail campaign that we developed so that folks deed us the properties for the balance of the mortgage. So once again, you don't have to worry about where your money is coming from to fund that deal. Number 9, finding your dream home. This was a direct mail campaign that we developed to find the home that we currently live in. And so you can customize this direct mail campaign in a variety of different ways. So you can customize it by the criteria can be the subdivision, the neighborhood, the size of the property, 1 story or 2, swimming pool, number of bedrooms, number of baths. So there's a lot of different criteria that you can use to really hone in this particular direct mail campaign to find the home that you're looking for you and your family. This is also a really good one to use to find those luxury properties. Number 10, attorneys. How many folks in our listening audience today are working with attorneys to bring you deals? This is absolutely awesome. So basically what happens is if you're a person of integrity and you do what you say you're going to do, when an attorney has a client come to them and they need to sell a property quickly, no matter what condition it's in order for the attorney to be able to liquidate assets, they're going to call you first. So basically what we did was we developed a direct mail campaign that we have specific criteria that we use to bring us the attorneys who are much more likely to work with us. So we mail out like 40 or 50 letters at a time. And then 2 weeks later, we follow up with the attorneys who haven't already contacted us. And then 2 weeks after that, we mail it out again. So the first time I did this direct mail campaign, probably 10, 12 years ago, I ended up creating relationships with 4 attorneys who still bring us deals today. So this is a direct mail campaign that you just do every now and then to increase the number of deals that you have coming in without doing a whole lot of work to get those deals. And the other thing that's really cool about attorneys is they talk to one another. So not only will they refer you to other attorneys to bring you deals, but attorneys know people who have money they need to invest. And this is one of the ways that we use to find private lenders for our business. I'll give you a quick example. I had an attorney call me about 6 years ago. And he said, "Hey, how come you're not borrowing money from me?" And so I said, "Well, I guess we need to get together for lunch and figure that out." And so we got together for lunch and we both walked into the restaurant. And I said, hey, I know you. And he went, hey, I know you. So many, many years ago, when I was in my 20s, I was the liaison between the banks and the courts. So I would do the research and I would testify in cases, bad check, kiting, that kind of stuff. And at that point in time, he was the district attorney who was prosecuting those cases. And for like 2 years, we worked together every single day. Well, he went on to become a state attorney here in Florida. And I went on, obviously, to become a real estate investor. So 30 some odd years later, here we are back together. And I ended up getting $1 million credit line from a major foundation that he represents. And I got a $500,000 credit line from him personally. So I got $1.5 million simply by making, by setting up a luncheon. So the moral of the story is don't ever burn a bridge because you never know when it's going to come back 30 some odd years later. So attorneys are really, really good. So when we start working together today, I want you to start with the attorney letter as one of the letters that will start bringing you some really great deals and some private lending for your business. It only happens once or twice a year, but my goodness, that's enough for me. Number 11, free and clear properties. These are the folks who own their properties free and clear without a mortgage. And what that means for me is creative financing with those sellers. So once again, you don't have to worry about where your funding is coming from for that deal. Number 12, expired listings. Folks, if you are not working with a realtor in your business, you absolutely need to be. And one of the things that realtors should be doing for you is bringing you the expired listings. And I will show you a deal that we did that came from an expired listing. That was one of the biggest deals we have ever done in our entire real estate investing business. So these are the 12 that we work with, the 12 direct mail campaigns that we like to work with regularly. Each of them has a different letter. Each of them has different criteria for the list. And then within the criteria for the list, we hone in more and more and more to bring us the highest number of motivated sellers within that group. Okay, so those are the 12 that we kind of like to work with. All right, so here's a little property that we did. This was actually a wholesale deal. This was an out-of-state owner, and it was a sweet little house, and the seller sent us the letter. And here's the letter that the seller sent us. We ended up buying that home for $17,500. It had an after repair value of $90,000, and our wholesale profit on that deal was $12,500. Here's the letter that we got from that seller. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Kennebrook, I just got your letter about buying my house in Bradenton. How did you know I needed to sell? My uncle left me this house. I don't know why he left me the house. I never even been to Florida, so I never even seen it. All I do know is that I'm not paying the tax bill I just got. Please go by and take a look and make me an offer and take this house off my hands. I'd appreciate it. My phone number is. Is that the kind of motivated seller you want to deal with? Well, that's pretty much what I deal with in my business every single day. Now, we bought this house and we never had the first conversation with that seller at all. Let me tell you how I did that, because today's the day where we have that kind of time. So here's what we did. We went by the house, we took a look at it, we determined what we were going to do with it. And for us at that point,
the house next door was yours and go, no, that's not.
Guys, can you please mute yourselves out? Okay, great. So we went by the house, we determined what our exit strategy was going to be. We took a look at it. Side road. There we go. Got it. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, so we went by the home, we determined what our exit strategy was going to be. We decided that we were going to wholesale this particular property. So we ended up deciding that we were not going to keep this, and we took a whole bunch of photographs of the property because Glenda had already said that she had not seen the property. So we took a bunch of pictures of it. So we decided what we were going to pay for the property, what we were going to offer. We wrote Glenda a contract. So in the envelope, we put the contract, we put copies of those photographs, And we included a priority envelope so she could send it right back to us. And then we included a mini credibility kit. And in that mini credibility kit, we included our business card, the business card of our title lady, the business card for a couple of our private lenders, some information about our real estate attorney. Because think about it, Glenda doesn't know who we are at all. So she doesn't know whether we can close on this property or not. Okay. So we sent all of that to her in the envelope. Now, and Glenda ended up calling all of those people. About 5 days later, here comes back the signed contract from Glenda. So I called my title lady. Now, one of the rules in my business is that my wholesale buyers close at my title company. So I called my title lady. Her name is Kathy also. And I said, hey, Kathy, I've got another contract that I'm sending over to you. This is going to be a wholesale with Andrew. She goes, oh, I already know that. I've already talked to Glenda. We're just waiting for the contract from you. And then we closed on this property as a wholesale 2 weeks later. And we never had the first conversation with the seller at all. So that's running your business in a really efficient way. All right. Here's another deal. This is Kelly. Kelly was asking $225,000 for her property. We ended up paying $180,000. We did about $12,000 of rehab to it. We sold the home for $248,000. And when everything was said and done, the profit on this deal was $44,000. And here's Kelly's letter. Dear Jay and Kathy Kennebrook, my name is Kelly, and I received an interesting letter from you today. Yes, me and my husband are interested in selling, but we want no games. We've been through a lot trying to sell this house. You know, realtors. Ah, she wrote that. I didn't. We're asking $225,000 for our property, and it's occupied. There is a mortgage on the property. The amount owed is $155,000. The payments are current. There are 2 bedrooms, possible third being used as an office right now. 1 bath. There's a newly renovated 2+ garage. We're selling because we want to move closer to family. Please contact us ASAP because we wanted our house sold like yesterday. And if you don't buy it, then we have to go with a realtor as our last resort. Thank you for your time. Is this the kind of deal that you want to be doing in your business? Absolutely. All right. And then here's another deal that we did. We call this one the monkey house. This lady was raising capuchin monkeys in the home. It was a divorce situation. She got the house in the divorce. She moved to Indiana, and the house was sitting empty, and she's paying a mortgage payment on the home each month. The house had been on the market for over a year and had not sold. So she ended up getting the expired listing letter and the out-of-state owner letter. So we ended up working with her, and she called us on the phone. She mailed us the keys. Is this a motivated seller? Absolutely. So we went over to look at the house. We open up the front door, and there's monkey poop everywhere. And what do you think monkey poop smells like? It smells like cash. It smells just like money, folks. We ended up buying this house for $225,000. We did about $70,000 of rehab to it. We sold it for $420,000 when everything was said and done. And our net profit on this deal was $85,000. So that's kind of what we're doing down here in Florida as far as deals are concerned. So I just wanted to give you kind of an overlay of some of the things that we had covered that on the Thursday night. So let's talk about results from direct mail marketing. All right, so we mailed out, this is one direct mail campaign that we did. We mailed out about 2,500 letters, about 200 letters per month. That's about 50 letters per week. So that's doable, right? I think so. We got 196 leads, about 16 leads per month. That's an 8% response rate. Is that okay? Absolutely. And one of the reasons that we get the kind of response rates that we do is because we are targeting specific types of sellers who are much more likely to work with us. We're using quality lists, and within each list that we use, we hone in using specific criteria to find the sellers that are the most highly motivated within each one of those groups. And then we use specific language in each letter to let that seller know what it is we can do for them, what information we need from them in order to determine if there's a deal there to be made. We ended up buying 14 of those properties. Net cash and equity, $502,000. Total cost of mailing, $2,200. Folks, we're in a business. We got to spend money to make money. Net profit, $500,000. So how many folks could use an extra $500,000 in the next 12 months? Anybody? And the rest of you are independently wealthy. So here's the caveat though. You've got to put the key in the ignition and turn on the engine. Folks, if you take the steps to implement direct mail marketing, it becomes a machine that will bring you deal after deal after deal after deal after deal. And that's what we're after today. So this is Daryl. I wanted to share this testimonial with you. So this was so great. I finally got to meet Kathy in person. I studied her program extensively. To date, all of my marketing and all of my deals were a direct result of Kathy's program. To date, all of my marketing and all of my deals were a direct result of Kathy's program. So Daryl bought my system off of my website. He never met me. He never heard me speak anywhere. He had heard about me from a friend of his. He went on my website. He bought the system. He invested the time to read through it. He implemented the system. He took the steps. And in a year's time, he had done over $1 million in deals using my system. Daryl's goals were that he wanted to fully retire and be able to spend time at home with his family and watch his children grow up. Because of the fact that he did over $1 million in a year's time, Daryl is from the DC area. So most of his deals are coming through Washington, DC and Maryland, which is a really heavy investor area. And so because of him doing this incredible thing, he was named DC's Real Estate Investor of the Year. So folks, I want you to be a Daryl. I want you to be super, super successful. I want you to take all of the things that you learned today and I want you to implement them in your business. Figure out what it is that's going to make you move forward in your business and implement those things and get your business going and start making some deals so you can make some really nice profits for you and for your family. All right, so let's talk about compiling other types of mailing lists. Now, for those of you who have already got my marketing magic system, this is kind of a review for you because all this information is included in your marketing magic system. So we cover death notices. So basically we cover the obituaries. Now I will tell you that the letter that you're going to use is more generic. We never, ever imply that we know that someone has died. So the letter is more generic in its language so that you're able to do these deals without insulting the person or hurting their feelings or whatever. Divorces, marriage notices. Marriage notices are awesome because sometimes people get married, he owns a home, she owns a home, and they want to sell one or both and buy one of their very own. Eviction filings, tax liens and certificates, liens and judgments, bankruptcies, condemned houses, and we actually work a lot with code enforcement as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. New homeowners, they buy a home, they're in there 6 or 7 months, and all of a sudden they discover that they can't afford it. And then absentee owners and burned out landlords. So these are some of the other types of mailing lists that we also work with regularly. So you've got so much flexibility and there are so many different types of sellers that you're going to be able to hone in on. Creating your marketing piece. Okay, so here's the way that you're going to do that. Number one, you want to gently touch your seller with a solution to their problem. Focus on the needs of the specific type of seller that you're marketing to. So it's a pre-foreclosure, that's going to have one type of language. An out-of-state owner will have a different type of language in the body of the letter. Keep it simple. Grammar doesn't have to be perfect. Keep it personal. Use simple language. Don't fill your letter with big words or industry jargon that your seller just simply won't understand. So for example, don't say to the seller, we can take your home subject to the existing mortgage, because the seller won't have any idea what that means. I actually got an email myself the other day, um, and we're actually buying we're buying a new front door for our home. We need the front door and the side light and the whole 9 yards. And the person that we're working with sent me a whole email the other day all about the door and everything. And the language that he used in the email, he might as well have been speaking another language, because I didn't understand his industry jargon. Well, your sellers won't understand your industry jargon either. So keep the language in the body of your letters very, very simple. Use paragraphs and spacing so there's a specific break between your thoughts. Begin with a powerful headline or a first sentence to grab their attention and hold their interest. Do you need to sell your house quickly without doing any repairs? Okay, so there's a lot of different first sentence headlines that we use. Use a font and a font size that's easy to read. So I generally use 12 or 14, and we use Times New Roman in our letters. Make sure that you include that response mechanism and ask for photographs. So let me give you an example. I got a letter from a seller about 3 weeks ago now, and it was in a 9.5 by 11 clasp envelope. And in the envelope, he included a copy of his deed, which we did not ask for. He included a plat map, which we did not ask for. He included a 2-page letter telling us every single thing about the home since his grandfather built it, and 8 photographs, interior and exterior. Is this the kind of motivated seller you want to deal with in your business? And we're in the middle of putting that deal together right now. So these are the typical kinds of sellers that you're going to be working with, okay? So you need to make sure that you include that response mechanism and ask for photographs. Steps to creating your machine. Decide which mailing you want to do. Okay, so each of you is in a different place in your investing life, and each of you has different goals, and there are different types of sellers and deals that you want to work with. So decide which mailing you want to start with. Get the list. Okay, so I provide the criteria for you for each of those lists. Copy the letters, sign the letters, neatly address the envelopes, and make sure that you spell everything correctly. Stuff the envelope, add the postage, and send them out in the mail. Go to your mailbox, get the responses from the sellers, or go to your computer and open up your email. Answer the seller's calls, buy some houses, and then train somebody else to do all of this work for you. So you can hire an individual, or you can hire a company to do the work for you. Now, for those of you who got your Marketing Magic Systems on the Thursday evening session, there are resources in there for you of companies that we provide for you to do the mailings for you. So again, this is kind of a little bit of a review for those of you who already got your Marketing Magic System. So we're going to repeat the mailings, we're going to make some money, and we're going to add new lists as we move along. So basically, the way that we start you out, or the way that I want you to start out, is start with one direct mail campaign, get kind of comfortable with that one, figure out how many leads you're getting and so forth, then add another, then add another, then add another. We generally have between 4 and 5 different direct mail campaigns going on at any particular time. But then again, I've been in the business for over 20 years. So we kind of grew in to that way of doing our business. Responding to the mailings. Now, remember, the seller probably wasn't planning on selling until they were contacted by you. And these are usually highly motivated sellers because of the way that you are doing your direct mail campaigns. They're generally aware of the property condition. The home may be vacant, it may have a tenant, or the seller may live there. Folks, treat your sellers with respect. And I want to talk about this for a minute because it's really, really important. I had a seller that I was working with on a property probably 3 or 4 years ago. And he was very, very shy. He was very, very introverted. He was trying to do some of the repairs to the home himself. The home was built in 1923. Architecturally amazing. I love the older houses. And what ended up happening was there was another investor who had gone in there before us. I wasn't aware of that. So this other investor goes in and he's looking at the house. And again, Ken is very, very shy and he's very, very introverted. And so the investor went in there and he says, well, the first thing I'd have to do is take that out and take this out. And then I'd have to redo this and redo that. And those things are going to cost me money. And so I'm only going to be able to make you an offer. And that sort of body language and that sort of language. And then we went in to see this property with the seller. And I said, wow, Ken, what a beautiful home you have. And I totally see what you were trying to accomplish here. I get it. That's pretty cool. I really, really like that. You see the difference in the way that that customer was treated, and we ended up buying that home. Okay, so treat your sellers with respect. Treat your seller the way that you would want to be treated. Get the additional information that you need from the seller. Now, remember, if you're doing direct mail marketing, the way I'm teaching you to do it, you already have most of the information that you need. Okay. So go ahead and get whatever additional information that you still might need from that seller. Listen to the seller, then create the deal that works for both of you. Direct mail also works when you follow through. So here's something else that we need to talk about. You need to follow up with semi-motivated sellers, okay? And I use an autoresponder system to do that with the sellers who have computers. And for the sellers who don't have computers, we use a postcard system. So there's 2 different ways that we do that. You need to follow up with semi-motivated sellers. Folks, when a seller says to you, oh, no, wow, I just can't decide. I'm just not sure what I want to do. The seller has heartstrings attached to that property. And they may not be ready to sell today. If a seller says to you, are you out of your mind? I can't take that offer. All they're saying to you is, no, not today, but could you follow up with me every 30 or 60 days until I change my mind? Get your ego out of the equation and follow up with these semi-motivated sellers, and you will make thousands of dollars more in your business. All right, so let's talk about handling return mail. If a letter comes back with a forwarding address, readdress the envelope, remail it, and make sure that you update your list. Okay, that's really important. If a letter comes back refused or with no forwarding address, cross it off your list. You want to keep your lists updated because you're going to be doing residual mailings for a year with each one of these lists. So you want to make sure that you're keeping that caught up. If a letter comes back marked deceased, the post office just did your job for you. Readdress that letter either to the estate of and the person's name, or go on public record and check the name for the heir, and then readdress the envelope to the heir and send it back out. If a letter comes back marked vacant, the post office just did your job for you. Get to work on that one right away. If you get nasty calls or letters from sellers, and it will happen every now and then, it's just bound to, just cross those off your list and don't remail to them, okay? All right. Now, there are some key components to put in place when you're putting your business together. So write this down. Number 1, caller ID, voicemail, 24-hour recorded message. You have to have a way for the seller to contact you. Email address, really important. Now, folks, this is something else that I want to talk about for a moment. You have to think about your business like the business that it is. One of the problems that I have with my students is that you folks change your email addresses like you change your socks. I don't know why you would do that. Establish an email address and keep it for your business. I've had sellers contact me 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later. This is a residual kind of business. So you're constantly sowing seeds, not only for deals today, but deals tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Okay, so in this business, especially with direct mail marketing, you are constantly sowing seeds for future deals. So you have to be established. Same thing with your mailing address. And a post office box is okay. We tested and we have tracked everything that we do in our business, and it's perfectly okay to use a PO box. And we've had a PO box now for about 15 years. Fax machine or computer fax, okay, very cheap, practically free to get the fax. And I know people say fax is dead, nobody faxes anymore. About 11% of my total deals come from sellers who faxed me. As long as I'm getting that kind of return, I am going to continue to keep a fax phone number. So basically, we give them 5 different ways to contact us: mail, email, phone number, fax number, and our website. Okay, so there are 5 different ways that we give a seller to contact us at all times. You want to have a title agent or a real estate attorney in your business to close deals for you, to give you information on properties, all kinds of things that person can do. Mortgage broker, hard money lender, private money. Okay, so you need to get your funding in place for your business. Wholesale buyers. Now, not only do I wholesale properties, but my wholesale buyers bring me deals. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on as well. A real estate attorney, a real estate broker, an appraiser, and a comp program. Now, you need these 3 things in order to be able to evaluate your property so you know what to offer. Surveyor, and then other vendors that are required for closings wherever it is you live. So where I live, for example, a termite inspection is always part of a closing. A survey is always part of a closing. So those are some like required inspections in our area. Education, just like you're on this call today. And I'm proud of everyone, by the way. All of the folks that we have on the call today, I'm so proud that you are here. Obviously, you take your business seriously. And you need some more key information in order to bring in some even more deals and more buyers for your business. Then you want to use a software system to follow up with sellers, and you want to use a software system that will track your deals and track your buyers. Now, I use a software system in my business called Real Prospect that is available on my website. So the software system follows up with sellers. It follows up with my mailings. It reminds me when I need to follow up with sellers. It reminds me when I need to do another mailing. It helps me track my deals. It helps me track my buyers. It keeps everything in place for me, and I would be lost without it. So having a software system in your business is going to be really important also to help you track everything that you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about working with realtors to create deals. Why should we work with realtors? Now, for those of you who got your system on the Thursday evening, you have a product in your system called Pre-Qualifying Your Dream Team Realtor. And all of this is covered in that particular bonus product that you received. So you can kind of sit back and relax. This is sort of a review for you. So first thing a realtor should be providing for you are the expired listings. There are a lot of really good deals to be made here. These are the sellers who are tired of people trouncing through their house all the time and not getting it sold. Old MLS listings, more than 90 days. Now, one of the things that a realtor can do for you is to provide you with lists off the MLS that you will receive on a daily basis. So there are specific lists that my realtor sends me every day. One of those are the MLS listings that are 90 days or older. He also sends me a list daily with keywords, the listings that have keywords. So the keywords would be handyman special, fixer upper, seller motivated, fire sale, needs TLC, bring offers, those types of keywords. Funny story about fire sale. We actually had a deal that came across the MLS, and it had fire sales, seller needs to sell, or something like motivated seller. That's what it said. And everybody thought the property burned. And so they weren't getting a lot of response. All they meant was that the seller needed to sell very, very quickly. And we bought that property and we paid not a whole lot of money for it. So it was really awesome. It needed some rehab, but it never burned. So you want to be using those keywords in those MLS listings. And so you want to have the realtor provide those for you. Now, the realtors that I work with also know wholesale buyers. So if you don't have a lot of wholesale buyers yet, this is a good way for you to start building your wholesale buyer list. The realtor will also spot specific deals on the MLS that you might like. And so my realtor sends me those deals over. Hey, Kath, here's another one you might want to look at. Okay. My realtors bring us deals before they are listed. So I get to take a look at it first, which is very cool. And again, the realtors can send you these specialized lists every day. So another list that I get is a property that's for sale between 0 and 250,000. And then another list that I get is properties for sale 500,000 or more. And then, so those are just real specific properties that I like to look at every single day. Then you can use realtors to sell properties for you. And that's one of the things that we also do. Our realtors sell some of our properties for us. Okay. Now, there are some advantages to using a realtor in your business. Number one, somebody else does most of the work for you. So they basically, they prepare the contracts and they take care of the closings and all of that good stuff. You don't have to deal with the seller. The realtor does that for you. You multiply your efforts. So now we're doing direct mail marketing. We're doing other types of marketing. We're getting leads from our realtors. So you're multiplying your efforts and bringing in that many more motivated sellers. It saves you hours by not chasing dead-end leads. The seller can't voice their objections to you. You don't have to deal with rejection. That's pretty cool. It's an excellent resource for buyers. Okay, so your realtor will bring buyers to you as well. You have someone else who can make multiple offers for you. So while I'm making offers to the sellers that I am working with, I am also making offers from deals that I see on MLS. So I am hitting the market in every way possible to bring in the highest number of leads in my business. You have access to MLS to research deals. Okay. Now, here is something that we call the love letter. Now, the love letter is attached to every deal, every offer that we make through our realtor, and every offer that we make to an out-of-state owner. Okay, so someone that we're not going to be meeting face to face. And this is really effective, and it's the sandwich effect. So you say something nice, and then you say what's wrong, and then you say something nice. And it's going to be different, obviously, with every house that you're working on. But here's an example of one, of a house that we did. Thank you for the opportunity to look at your home. We understand that the offer that we're making is below your asking price for this property, but we would really love to own this home, and we would be responsible for all of the repairs. So there would be nothing for you to do to the home. Your lovely home has lots of potential, and we think it could be nicely updated with some remodeling and be just perfect for us. We would like you to consider our offer based on the following. There are some items that need to be addressed. The first thing the home would need is a roof. We would not be able to get insurance without it, so that's an immediate expense for us. It also appears that the electrical box may have some issues which would need to be looked into. In addition, in all likelihood, the home would need to be treated for termites since we've not seen any evidence of termite treatment. The kitchen needs updating along with some newer appliances. Portions of the home need to be painted inside and out. The bathrooms also need to be updated. We would like to make that den into an actual third bedroom. These are all expenses we are willing to take care of. The water heater and the air conditioner appear to be in really good shape, so that's a big plus. We really love the yard, and we really love the large and open yard. We did notice, though, that there is no garage and limited parking on the street. We are cash buyers. We'll be buying the home in as is condition, so you don't have to do any repairs to it, and we can close as soon as you would like to. You don't have to worry about someone who is trying to get a conventional loan having any issues with the home. And we're ready to close whenever you are. We think this home is wonderful, and we thank you for looking at our offer. We're hoping to be able to purchase this lovely home. Do you know how many additional homes we've bought just because we took the time to put together this simple letter and include it with the offer that we were going to make? Okay, so just another tool that none of your competitors are using. All right, so let's talk about some unique ways to find leads. Again, these are things that none of your competitors are doing. Number one, auction houses. All right, so there are auction houses wherever, and I know that you have them in North Carolina, that you go to on a Friday or Saturday night and you buy stuff. Well, where do you think the auction houses get the stuff? Okay, they are coming generally from people who consign like a whole household of goods to the auction house. The auction house sells those items at their evening auction, and then they take their percentage and they write a check to the person who consigned. This is a way that a lot of heirs, because a lot of heirs will inherit a house all full of furniture and all full of stuff, and they need to get rid of that stuff. So this is a really good way for you to find estate properties, okay? So here's how you do that. You contact the auction house. You go down there, you introduce yourself, and you let them know what it is that you do. So when the auction houses that I work with send me leads, I go ahead, once we buy that home, we go ahead and we pay the auction house usually about $1,000 as a referral fee, because then they keep sending them to us. Easy way to find these auction houses in your area. You go to auctionzip.com, auctionzip.com. And the first thing that comes up, it will ask you for your zip code. So you put your zip code in there, and then it brings up a calendar of all of the auctions in your area. So click on any day, kind of just to get a feel of what it looks like. And you click on a day and it will show you all the auctions in your area, and there'll be photographs of the things that they are selling. On the top of that calendar is the information about the auctioneer, his license number, the address of the auction house, their phone number, and so forth. I will tell you that it's better to go to the auction house and go ahead and introduce yourself. Do not do it on the day of the auction. They will blow you off because they are way too busy getting the auction together. I actually worked personally in the auction industry for about 15 years as a side job, one of many side jobs that I had years ago. So I know what I'm talking about on this. So this is another really good way for you to create leads that none of your competitors know anything about. And again, for those of you who got my system on the Thursday night, everything that we're getting ready to cover is in there. So you have all of this information. Estate sales and yard sales. Make sure that you have your flyers or your business cards with you all the time. So we stop at every estate sale and yard sale, and we make sure that they have our information. We actually bought a house from a lead that came from a yard sale because they were trying to sell enough stuff to try to make their next mortgage payment because they didn't know what to do. And so these are really good way for you to find more deals. Storage units. Generally, storage units have a public board inside. And so we'll put one of our flyers on that public board, because storage units are usually folks that are moving. So they're either buying a house or selling a house or whatever. So another good way to find deals. Junk haulers, same thing. Get in touch with junk haulers in your area. Tell them that you will pay a referral fee if they bring you a lead and you end up buying that house. Code enforcement. Folks, if you are not working with code enforcement in your business, you are missing the boat. Make sure that you introduce yourself to code enforcement so they know who you are and what you do. So we have a relationship with our local code enforcement, and they bring us deals all the time because they want houses fixed up in your area as much as you do. Homeowners associations, another good way to find leads. So we have specific subdivisions that we like to buy in. So think about it. You're going into a subdivision, you're buying a home, you're fixing that home up, you're retailing it, and you're raising the property values in that subdivision. So the homeowners associations love us. So they will bring us leads when they have people where they're getting ready to foreclose for past due homeowners fees. And generally that person is in foreclosure as well. So this is another good way for you to get deals coming into your pipeline. Craigslist, for sale by owner signs, another really good way to find leads. Now, when we start working together today, I actually have a resource for you, and they will email you the new for sale by owners in your area once a week. And so that's pretty cool. I really like that. You can do a class at a library or a service club. Another good way to introduce yourself to your neighborhood. So that class would be on, how to sell a house on your own, or, the things that you don't want to do, why you can work with a real estate investor, and just cover all of those things in a class for a library or a service club. Real estate clubs. Your real estate club is a really good way for you to find more leads. And then lumpy mail items. We use lumpy mail items in our letters. So you can use pens, candy, mail in your mailers, or specialty mailers. We're going to talk about specialty mailers a little bit later on. But let me show you. This is what the flat pen looks like. It looks just like that. Okay. And then it has the information about our company on the front of it. And so you've already given the seller the response mechanism. Now they can fill out the information you need and get that back to you right away. So it's another way to take an obstacle out of a situation for that seller. Also, folks, as we're going through, I'll remind you again, because we've had more folks come on the call. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and throw them in the chat box, because I've done this in sections. So as we stop in between sections, I'll go ahead and answer whatever questions that you might have throughout the day. All right, so go ahead and throw any questions that you may have in the chat box. All right, so let's talk about using bird dogs to find leads for you. So your bird dogs could be mortgage brokers, private lenders. My private lenders bring me deals all the time. In fact, I've got one private lender who has a bunch of rentals himself, so he totally understands what it is that we do. And so he will call me and say, hey, Kathy, I passed this vacant house today. Maybe you want to take a look at that. So private lenders are a really good way for you to find leads also. Any vendors that you're using in your business, your handyman, your roofer, pest control person, cleaning service, cable guy, pool service. So what I do is I give each of them a stack of business cards. And on the back of the business card, I write their name really small on the bottom. And that way, if I'm talking to a seller and the seller says, I got one of your business cards. Oh, awesome. Can you turn it over and just tell me whose name is on the bottom of that, so that I can pay a referral fee to the right person? Okay, so that's the way that we pay our vendors. And we use lots of our vendors to bring us deals. Tenants. In your system, there is a tenant referral program. We send out a letter to our tenants every 6 months, reminding them of our tenant referral program. So basically, if our tenants bring us a lead and we close on that deal, our tenants get X amount of money off the following month's rent. And I say X amount because it's entirely up to you. It depends on how much the rent is on that property, maybe, or how much profit you have. So you decide when you send the letter to the tenant what kind of a discount you're going to give that person. The mailman, oh my goodness, what a good person to bring you leads. My wholesalers bring me leads all the time. Hey, Kath, I just went over to take a look at that property that we're doing together. And while I was over there, I noticed this address, and this address, and they appear to be vacant houses. Can you check into that for me? Okay, so now you got a new lead and a person to wholesale the property to. So these are just more ways for you to find more deals. Utility companies, family and friends and coworkers. Folks, every person that you meet should know that you buy houses. Okay, so flap your lips and let everybody know that you buy houses. All right, so let's talk about vacant properties. These are really easy to locate. So you're going to develop an eye for these properties because they're free leads. So every time you go somewhere, take a different route to get there and keep your eye out for vacant properties. Vacant properties are an untouched market. There's not a lot of your competitors that are doing this, and these are usually really motivated sellers. And the more difficult it is for you to find the owner of that vacant property, the better a deal you're going to make. It's a very simple mailing. It's very simple to research the owners. You can either use public records, your property assessor's office, your tax collector's office, um, um, the person that, that can research properties for you, all of those things. Leave a copy of the letter or a flyer at the property address. We always, always do that. And make sure you give that seller multiple ways to contact you. And again, you can use a skip tracer to help you to find the owners of these properties. So how are we going to find the owners of the vacant houses? Number one, the letter that you mailed. Talk to the neighbors. They inevitably know exactly what happened to that person or where they moved to. Utility companies, databases, the tax collector's office, the post office, your title company can research that home, a skip trace service. I'm not telling you to do this, but you can look at mail that might be in the mailbox and just take a quick peek at it and put it back. I did not tell you to do that. You can use HomeSnap to research properties. You can Google the address of the property, and quite often you'll find a lot of information about it. You can use telephone directory websites. So there are a number of different ways to find the owners of these vacant houses. All right, so let's talk about creating the deal. Use voicemail and caller ID to track your phone calls. Response by mail will have most of the information that you need in order to determine if there's a deal there. You'll already have seen the property or have photos of it or have taken photographs of it. These sellers are motivated. Shut up and listen, okay? Let the seller tell you their story. Let them tell you why it is they need to sell so you can put together a deal that works for you and the seller. Use a telephone script to get the information that you need. Now, for all 12 of the direct mail campaigns in my system, I have telephone scripts in there for you. So you just go to the section of the direct mail campaign that you're working on, and the telephone script is there for you. If the seller won't answer your questions, move on to the next one. It's a dead deal. Don't waste your time on dead deals. Most sellers will see you as the solution to their problem. Many reasons that a seller is selling has nothing to do with money. Many of the reasons that they sell have nothing to do with money. Okay. And to be honest with you, one of the, I always ask the seller, why are you selling? And a lot of times it's, I want to move to be closer to family. I can't handle a house this big anymore. There are just lots of reasons that have nothing to do with needing money. So you found the house and the seller, put the deal together. So let's talk about making the offer. Meet in person or ask the seller for the keys. You'd be amazed at how many sellers will give you the keys or send you the keys or tell you where the keys are. My next door neighbor has the keys. The keys are under the rock by the front door, or they'll mail you the keys. It's really amazing. The more motivated the seller is, the easier it is for you to get the keys. Determine the comps and figure out what the repairs are going to be. And then prepare your offer based on what your exit strategy is going to be. Write all of your offers subject to inspection, so you always have an out if you need one. Develop a relationship with a title company and send their card with your offer or with your contract. Overnight the contract to the seller or bring the contract with you. We always have contracts. I have actually a little case in my car with all the documents that I need to put a house under contract, whenever that might be. If you're overnighting the contract, add a mini credibility kit. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Do not pitch offers when a seller says no. Many times they will come back. Okay, so don't ever pitch an offer unless you really want the seller to contact you. Every time I take an offer and throw it in the trash can, the seller calls me the next day. I don't know what that is, but it works. Set up a follow-up system or use a software program to follow up with these sellers and keep track of the deals that you've, or the offers that you've made. So let's talk about the mini credibility kit. What goes into a mini credibility kit? Well, number one, your business. First of all, let's talk about what a credibility kit is. Okay, so you know how, like, when you have somebody come out to your house and they're going to give you a bid on, you know, a new front door or new windows or new countertops or new cabinets or whatever that might be, and they bring a book with them, and in front of, in the, you know, it'll have like their insurance policy, and then it's got like before and after pictures, you know, of jobs that they've done. That's their credibility kit. And you need the same thing in your real estate investing business. So the mini credibility kit that you're going to be mailing to your sellers with offers and with contracts will consist of your business card, your title agent's business card, your real estate attorney's business card, or you can take a piece of paper and write all of this on there and include it with the offer. An overview about you and your business, reference letters from sellers, those are awesome. Personal reference letters, so like from your boss, if he or she still likes you, business owners that you know, maybe the pastor at your church, you know, whoever you can get a personal reference letter from. And then letters from your vendors and lenders. Okay, those are really, really effective. So put this mini credibility kit into the envelope along with your offer and along with a return envelope so that the seller can send the envelope back to you. All right. Other things to remember: track the letters that you have mailed. Take photos of properties to keep with your notes. Remail the letter every 30 to 60 days. Each one of the direct mail campaigns has specific criteria for remailing. And so my system has all of that in it for you, but at least every 30 days. When driving neighborhoods, so when you're driving for dollars, keep track of where you've been. Okay, so I just did that neighborhood, now I'll do this one, then I'll do this one, and so forth. If you find a new address for an owner, follow up immediately and be very consistent with your marketing. Folks, you need to have 5 different marketing techniques in place at all times. And one of them needs to be direct mail marketing. And we're going to be talking about a lot of other things today also. All right, so do we have any questions? We'll take a break for questions. Let me go in the chat box. Let's see what we got. All right, let's see. What kind of company would you use to contact to get land cleared off? Too early for that question. We will be discussing that after the break. So I'll touch on that a little bit later on. I need a copy of the letter that you send. There are 12 different letters. There is a specific letter for each one of my direct mail campaigns. There is specific language. The response mechanism is different for each one of the letters. All of those are in my system. And I will be making an offer a little bit later on. Okay, Kathy, do you send letters to a website? Sometimes. It depends on which direct mail campaign that I'm doing. They always get email address, mailing address, email address, phone number, and fax number. Okay. For some of the ones that I want to do more personally, like out-of-state owners and quitclaim deeds and estates, no, I do not give them the website address for those particular mailings, because I want to keep it more personal. Okay, so it just depends on which direct mail campaign I'm sending. And my letters are set up that way. So they already have the criteria that I need to do each one. All right, so do we have any other questions for right now? I don't see anything. Whether this is being recorded, I'm not sure. Go ahead and get with Tria like on Monday or Tuesday and find out if this is being recorded. I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Do you use letterhead to send to real estate attorneys? Absolutely. Or do you find it better to drop in on real estate attorneys to get probate leads? No. I generally have not better things to do with my time, but the letter that I send and the direct mail campaign that we do is very, very effective. We do the follow-up. So we mail out 40 or 50 letters at a time to attorneys who are much more likely to want to work with us. One of those obviously being attorneys who handle probate. And then we followed up with another letter 2 weeks later to any of the to any of the attorneys who have not already followed up with us. And so out of maybe 40 or 50 letters, I'll get probably 4 or 5 new leads of attorneys to work with. So it's a really, really effective direct mail campaign. And it is one of the first ones that I want you to start with when we start working together today. All right, so let's move on, and we'll break for questions again throughout the day. So if you come up with something else, just pop it in the chat box for me. Here we go. All right, planning your budget. This is a big one. Again, you should have between 3 and 5 marketing techniques in place at all times. Your upfront investment should be between $350 and $500. Again, remember, you're starting a business. We're running a business here. Okay, so you want to totally begin with business cards, signage, flyers, vehicle signage, and direct mail marketing. Business cards, you should blow through 1,000 business cards in 30 to 60 days. Every single person that you meet should be getting your business card. Get them out there. Let people know who you are and what you do. Get those business cards out to all different kinds of places. And we're going to talk about that specifically in a little bit. Signage. You can start with a little bit of signage or a lot of signage. It's up to you. Vehicle signage is a really good way to get leads coming in that you only have to pay for one time. Okay, and the new vinyl type of signage is awesome because it doesn't hurt your new car. Flyers, very inexpensive a way to find deals, and then direct mail marketing is a fairly inexpensive way to find new deals. You're going to mix shotgun and targeted marketing. So targeted marketing are going to be those very, very targeted direct mail campaigns. Shotgun marketing is going to be everything else: business cards, flyers, signage, apparel. All of those kinds of things will fall under shotgun marketing. And you need to have a mix of both in your business. And then add free marketing to the mix. And we're going to be talking about some cool stuff that is free or almost free. Call on ads and FSBOs. In my marketing magic system, I have a section called Calling on Ads, the Calling on Ads campaign. So what you want to do is you want to take one of your telephone scripts and you want to call on the ads in the newspaper, the Shopper's Guide, Craigslist, Facebook Market, all of those for the for sale by owner properties and the for rent by owner properties. Now, I also want you to get this in someone else's hands as quickly as you can. All right, but this is another great way for you to get some more leads coming into the mix. All right, track your marketing and then move money toward whatever marketing you're finding is working the best for you in your market area, and then hone in on that and do more of it. So we're always tracking and we're always, watching exactly what's going on in our business. We figure out what things are working the best for us. We may stop doing something because it's not bringing us any leads, and then we add more, to the things that bring us a higher number of leads. So you're always going to be changing your market as your business starts to grow. Your marketing will grow your business, and it will grow with your business. So for those of you who are still working a full-time job, for example, and you don't have a lot of money to spend, even if you're only spending, $50 a week on direct mail marketing and you're mailing 50 or 100 letters a week, for example, you're still going to have new deals coming in. Okay. And so as you have new deals coming in, take a portion of the profit from each deal that you do and put it back into your marketing. This is really important. And then quantity versus quality. All right. So you can mail out 1,000 of generic letters, for example, that say, hey, I want to buy your house. Or you can mail fewer letters that are very, very targeted to the right kind of seller that you want to work with, and it will bring you a higher number of leads. So you've always got to be watching quality versus quantity in your business. So let's talk about some action steps to find some private lenders, because funding for your deals is important. Start flapping your lips. Folks, talk to every person that you know. You don't know what you don't know. Okay. I'll give you a quick example. I have a nail lady, and so every week or every 2 weeks or 3 weeks when I have my nails done, she will say, we'll be talking about things. And so what deals are you working on now? And I'll tell her, what deals we're working on and stuff like that. And I've talked to her about private lending and stuff through the years and everything like that. And it's just part of our normal conversation, because being a real estate investor is who I am. And all of a sudden, one day I went in to have my nails done, and Sherry said, hey, you need to talk to my mom. And I said, how come? And she said, well, she just inherited $1 million from a relative she didn't know she had. Must be nice. And so she ended up investing, becoming one of our private lenders. And so she invested part of that money with us. And so she's getting a really nice return on her money. But Sherry already knew what we do. And her mom wanted to invest some money. So you need to be talking to every single person that you run into. What do I say? Okay, so here's what you say. Do you have money sitting in a Roth IRA, savings account, or a CD that is not earning you at least 7% or 6% or 5%, whatever number you like? Would you be interested in a safe investment guaranteed by a first mortgage on a property? It's so simple. Just memorize that and start talking to everybody that you meet. Who do I ask? Family members, doctor, your attorney, your dentist, everybody that you know, even your title person. And I've actually gotten private lenders from it's actually an attorney firm. So they do title work and they do probate work and estate work and attorneys. So there's a whole group in there. Line up hard money lenders also. I understand that you'll be paying higher interest and maybe you'll be paying points. But if you don't have the money to invest in a deal, you're not going to make any money at all. Okay, so start lining up hard money lenders also. And then begin to build that credibility kit that we talked about. How to find private lenders, attorneys. My CPA has sent me several private lenders because obviously he knows folks who have money they need to invest. He knows I'm a person of integrity. I've been around a really long time. So your CPA or your accountant, business owners that you know, friends or relatives with a CD or a 401k that they're not getting a high enough return from. Flap your lips to every person that you meet because you don't know what you don't know. Friends or relatives who have self-directed Roth IRAs, your local real estate company, your Roth IRA company, call and talk to them. Mortgage brokers, private lenders also bring you more private lenders. I've had 2 or 3 of my private lenders refer me to other private lenders. Okay. Advantages to using private money. Number 1, there's no credit check. The loan is based on the home's value. And they'll look at how much rehab it needs and what the after repair value is, and they'll determine whether or not they want to give you the money for that deal. Now, once you've done a few deals and you've got a few under your belt and you know what you're doing, they're going to be loaning you more money. They're very flexible on the kinds of deals that you want to do. So, for example, we've used our private lenders for townhouses, condominiums, mobile homes, vacant land, even, all kinds of deals. The money is usually always available. Lenders like to keep their money out working. My lenders get mad when I pay them off. So I always try to have another deal in my pipeline when I know I'm getting ready to pay off a private lender, so I can put that money right back into another deal. They will refer you to other lenders. They're flexible on their interest rates. They're flexible on their terms. So you can come up with different terms for different types of deals. So here's an example. If I'm flipping a home, so if I'm going to buy it, rehab it, retail, I usually pay a little bit of a higher interest rate. So I'll pay 8 or 9% on those. And the reason that I do that is because I get total flexibility from my lenders. I don't pay any I don't pay any interest payments on that loan until the house is sold. So it doesn't interfere with my cash flow. So I buy a home, I'm going to rehab it. He gives me the money for the home and for the rehab. And then the interest payments each month accrue until I sell the house. And then we pay him off for everything in full. So that kind of makes sense. The loans are always bought in a trust or a business name. We never buy anything in our own name. With a private lender, you have the option to do that. And these loans do not affect your personal credit. So if I have a whole bunch of private loans with lenders, they're not on my credit report anywhere. So these are some of the advantages to using private lending in your business. All right, so let's talk about strategies using private lenders. Rehab and retail, obviously. If you're going to buy a home and keep it as a rental. So that's another flexibility with my private lenders, is the length of time that I want to keep a loan. So if I'm doing a rehab and retail, usually about a year. If I'm doing a rental, 10 years. So it just depends on what my intention is with that particular property. Subject twos that need some work or payments caught up. So they could be in pre-foreclosure or luxury property. These are all different types of properties that you can use private lending for. Deals with private lenders that can net 100% cash flow. You can fund a short sale, round robin auctions or subject to properties, down payment on a seller held mortgage. So maybe you have a seller held mortgage and the seller wants $10,000 down, but it's a really awesome deal. You can use a private lender to come up with that balance. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can use in your business using private money. Creating a buyer's list. Okay, so for those of you who got your marketing magic system, this is all in there also for you. Because as we're getting leads coming in and we're buying properties, we want to be creating a buyer's list as well. Use brightly colored postcards for this mailing. This is the only time you're allowed to use a postcard. Target areas with high numbers of rental properties. It needs to have a strong headline. One of my favorite headlines is, "Are you tired of paying your landlord's mortgage?" So that's one that I really like. You can list the benefits of working with you. Provide a website address, a phone number, and an email, at least on that postcard, so that person has some multiple ways to contact you. You can run ads on Craigslist. I do that all the time. You can run ads in Facebook Market. I do that all the time. You can work with local mortgage brokers to find buyers for your properties. You can work with realtors to find you properties. And then again, run ads on Facebook. I do that also, and in Facebook Market. So these are just some ways to start building that buyer's list while you're getting some great deals coming in. All right, business cards. So you're going to use bright colors to grab people's attention. You want to use the front and the back of the card because you want to give them as much information as you can, okay, on that business card. Do not use a photograph or useless information on the business card. All that, the seller doesn't care what you look like. They want to know how you can help them. Use a grabber headline on that business card. Give the seller multiple ways to contact you. So that's why you want to use, okay, so here's an example of a business card right here. So you want to use the front of that business card and you want to use the back of that business card so that you can give that person as much information as you can. All right. Used raised lettering on the back of the card so that the seller or so that the person getting that business card knows that there's something on the back of the card. And you want to use bullets on your business card so that that seller knows how you can help them. And then use an unusual. So here's one with the bullets. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. There's the one with the bullets. Okay, and I've got some other examples to show you. And then why they should call you. Okay, so there's some examples. There's the money card. Here's the bullets that I was talking about on the top there. So you've got the money card, you've got the orange one, the hot pink. Here's the orange one right there. There's the hot pink one right there. Actually, it looks more purple on that camera. Okay. All right. So where are we going to put the business cards? Public boards. Real easy way to get deals coming in or leads coming in. So on public boards, business cards or flyers. So storage units, laundromats, the grocery store, your home improvement store, restaurants, the courthouse, the car wash. Usually the car washes have like a little plastic container on the counter and you can just throw some business cards in there. Everyone that you meet should have your business cards, all your family members, all of your friends. Your business card should be on your vehicle when it's parked, okay? And on your bird dog's vehicle. So if you've got a We Buy Houses sign on your car, then what I do when I'm parked is I simply throw some business cards under my windshield wiper or in that side window area. Because think about it, you've got somebody who's coming through the parking lot, they see your car, oh, wow, I got a house I need to sell. I don't have a paper or pen right now, my arms are loaded with groceries. They can walk over to your car and simply pick up a business card. I will tell you that I'm the only person in my area that does that. I've never seen it on another car where they just put some business cards on their car so somebody can grab one. And it makes sense. In your bills, all of your vendors, as we talked about earlier, your CPA, your attorney, your pool guy, your cleaning person, your roofer, rehabbers that work for you, all of those vendors should have your business cards. A toll taker in restrooms, at your real estate club meetings, every person that you meet in your real estate club meeting should get your business card and know who you are. Your doctor, your dentist, PTA meetings, school functions, business networking events, sporting events, yard sales, estate sales, countertops in stores. When you leave a tip on the table in a restaurant, leave your business card. Your business card may be the best tip that server ever got. Magnetic cards on the refrigerator in your rentals. I do that all the time. Magnetic cards in letters to out-of-state owners, pre-foreclosures, and senior homeowners. That way they're not going to forget you. They're going to take that and put it right on their fridge so they have your information when they are ready to sell. For those of you who already have my marketing magic system, all of this is in there for you. All right, signage. You should have signage in the yard of every home you own. And then other people's yards. We generally will ask permission to put our signs in the yards of someone, like you live on a corner or at the beginning of a subdivision, or you can put your signage at the entrance to subdivisions that you like to buy in. Businesses where you know the owner. I have my signage at the car wash that I go to on both sides of the lane, because you're sitting there in the lane and you're waiting your turn. What better thing to do than read my sign? Okay, so that's something else we do. Remnant space. This is something that a lot of people don't talk about. Remnant space. Bus benches, billboards are really good ways to get remnant space, and remnant space is free advertising for you. So for example, I have 4 bus benches in the area right now, and they're in key places in the area. But the bus bench company doesn't want like empty bus benches sitting around. So they will alternate people's signage and they'll stick them on empty bus benches that we didn't pay for. So I'll be driving down the road and see my signage on a bus bench that I'm not paying for. And it's like, cool. Well, billboards work the same way. Billboard companies don't like having empty billboards. And so if they have remnant space, they'll stick your ad up on that billboard. Your vehicle and other people's vehicles. I pay people $35 per month to keep my signage on their vehicle. And it's usually, and I provide the signage, and it's usually just the vinyls that go on either side of the car or on the back if we have it. I've got a couple that have tire covers because they drive like a Jeep or, you know, like a vehicle that has the tire cover on the back. Auto shades, folks, this is killer. Auto shades are so inexpensive. And that's the shade that goes on your windshield when your car is parked. So we have those for both of our cars, actually all 4 of our cars. And then I provide them to my vendors. So here's a really great way for your vendor to keep their truck or car cool and advertise for you at the same time. See, these are things that none of your competitors are thinking about. Put signs out on Friday night and pick them up on Sunday night. Okay. We buy houses signs. So there's one of our bus benches, and then somebody stuck their little sign right next to ours, but I bet they're going to call us first. This particular sign is right next to a bus stop, and it's also right across the street from the entrance to our mall. So they have to see our bus bench coming in or out of the mall. So I thought that was kind of cool. Here are some signage examples for you. And they need to be short and sweet. So the ones that I like, for example, are the 2 on the left there, because the more language they have, A, they're smaller, and B, a potential seller only has a few seconds generally to see your sign if they're driving past. So the less it says, more. This is a situation where less is more. Okay, but those are some examples. These are some samples of some stickers for your car, bumper stickers. There's one of them. There's the other one. And these are the ones that are not sticky, so you can like peel them off the car and put them on another car. I really, really like these. And we have these on all of our vehicles. And they're very inexpensive. So if somebody gets a wild hair and peels it off your car, you'll just put another one on there because maybe they need your phone number to sell a house to you. And that happens. All right, flyers and door hangers. These are cool. Let me pull a couple here. All right. Laundromats. So printing flyers is like so incredibly cheap. It's ridiculous. We're talking about cents. Okay. So go to Staples or go to Office Depot or wherever and print a bunch of flyers. And then we also use door hangers. So we'll talk about those. So you're going to put them in laundromats, have someone lay them for you door to door. You're going to put them in a Val pack, restaurants, placemats, pizza or food delivery, storage units, unemployment office, relocation services, home improvement stores, your grocery store, on vacant houses, houses that look interesting to you that you'd like to own, or homes from the obituary list or the inherited. Now, if you are putting signage or flyers on the doors of homes that you found in the obituaries, that's fine. But what I want you to do is do all of the houses around them as well. Okay, so you're not like pinpointing them. So you're going to do all the houses that surround that home. So here's, I think I have samples in here for you. That's one of the flyers that we use. This is one that I cut in half, and I have them in my car all the time. For those of you who already got my system, you have all of these samples. Here's another one that we use with the cutoffs on the bottom. So we snip them and they can just simply pull them off. Here are door hangers. So those are some samples of door hangers. Here's what they actually look like. There's one, here's another one, okay, and another one. All right, so those are door hangers. I love the door hangers. They're so easy to use. For those of you who got my system, there is a resource in your marketing resource kit. So I basically provide for you all the resources to get all of these things that you want and need for your business, okay? So before we go into no nonsense marketing, I want to cover just a couple of things for you. Here's another one of the flyers that I use, okay? It's kind of a cool one. We've actually used this. We use this in directory boards. Like there's a dance hall near us and they have like a glassed in board. So this ad is actually up in on that board inside it. We use this for a lot of different things. So that's another one that we use. And then here's one that I wanted to share with you. This is something probably none of your competitors are doing. This is a 4-part, okay, a 4-part advertiser. On the front of this one is Joe's Eats and Sweets. We also do this, my favorite is pizza parlors, and we work with pizzerias all the time. Here is a great way for you to create a flyer at no cost to you whatsoever that will hit lots and lots of households. Here's what we do. Okay, so this particular one has like 8 people in it altogether. So on the front, okay, on the back, here's, oops, excuse me, here's me. Okay, there's my ad. There's another ad underneath mine. And so there's like 6 altogether in this particular flyer. So what we do is we go to the pizzeria, we talk to the owner of the pizzeria, for example, and we put together this flyer. On the front of the flyer would be the pizzeria's menu and their information. And then you are going to contact 3 or 4 other businesses, and they are going to buy ads in this flyer. So they basically pay for the entire flyer, and your ad is free because you took the time to put this thing together. We've done this a ton of times with different businesses, including Joe's Eats and Sweets, and then a couple of pizzerias in our area and so forth. Joe's Eats and Sweets, they advertise everywhere. They're really, really smart, and they understand marketing. All right, so that's a freebie for you. So that's another free idea. No nonsense marketing strategies, sponsorships, parades, health fairs, golf tournaments. So you can provide balloons. And I love it. What happened was one time we did balloons for a parade, and they were, our colors are Kelly green and white. So the balloons were green, and then it had our Kelly green writing on top of, on there, we buy houses, and our phone number. And then the news media came out and they took video of the parade, and they had given all of the children the balloons. And so here was like all our balloons in that parade, and it was like really, really cool. But it was a really neat way to get more marketing coming in. And these are called no nonsense marketing strategies. Unique mailers that you can use. I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but let me show you one that I have. This is one that I really like to use. Okay, it's in a little envelope like this, and it's a little bit thick. This one's about $1.25, and we use this when it's a house we really, really want. Okay, and these are things that none of your competitors are doing. Here's what it looks like on the front. It says, when you're looking for the best. There we go. When you're looking for the best. All right. Call us first. Give me a ring, it says. And our business card is on the inside. Is that cool? And again, I have the resource who can provide those for you. And that's one that we use when we have a house that we really, really like. So again, we're going to be looking at a lot of really different things today. Branding is really important. Our colors are Kelly green and white. And the reason for that was when we very first got started in real estate investing, our truck was like a Kelly green color. And so we wrapped it in white, and those became our colors. So our business cards are Kelly green and white. Our t-shirts are Kelly green and white. All our advertising and postcards are Kelly green and white. So pretty much everything we do is the same color. And it's a really good way to brand yourself with your potential sellers. Another thing that we use is candy. So we do the candy, and then we'll put it like in a little bowl. And we supply that to the unemployment office, relocation services. And the candy on the outside says, are you looking for a sweet deal? And our phone number. I'm sorry, are you looking for a sweet deal? We buy houses, and our phone number. That's what's on the wrapper. You don't have a lot of room. And then we provide these like the doctor's office, the title company, storage companies, all kinds of different places. So another way for you to find highly motivated sellers. Apparel and caps. Now, I will tell you that if you need to go to the grocery store or like Walmart or somewhere like that where you need to get out in and out really quick, don't wear your apparel or put a jacket over it. I can't get through Walmart without getting stopped 2 or 3 times. So that's apparel is a really good way for you to get some leads coming in. Lapel buttons, that's something else that we use. Here's a few, let me show you a couple of my lapel buttons. These are really inexpensive too. and you're going to use them over and over and over and over again. Okay. We buy houses cash. That's one. Okay. I will buy your house in 8 days or less. Cash for your house and our phone number. Here we go. I buy houses, mortgages, and land. We buy houses cash fast, J&K Property Solutions, and our phone number. Okay, so those are just some of the various lapel buttons that we have used throughout the years, and we still use those. We give them to people, and we have them wear them. Same thing, if they give us a referral and we close on that property, they get paid. So hopefully I'm giving you some really cool ideas. You can support a sports team. So you can put your ad like in a bowling alley or on the back of the t-shirt, like if the kids are on a soccer league or softball league or whatever that might be, you can support a sports team by putting your advertising on the back of their shirts and paying for the shirts. You can teach a free class. We talked about that earlier. Advertorials. I think I have one today to show you. An advertorial is an ad that looks like an article that was written about you. And I believe I have one to show you today, but those are really, really awesome. And then banners. We use banners in car washes and in businesses that we know that have fences out front that are on main roads. And so we'll put our banner on the fence on that main road, and tons and tons and tons of people see it every single day. And then there are specialty mailers that we like to use. Here's a couple of the specialty mailers that we like. That top one looks just like an express pack, an express envelope. These are like $1 a piece, but if it's a property that you are particularly interested in buying, that's what it looks like. Oh, no, that is right side up. There you go. Okay, that's what that one looks like. And then this one is another one that we use, and they will open it. They will absolutely open it. And the header on the letter is, you have choices. You know, let us help you make a deal, because see how it has the business, the playing card, and then it has deal and then choice on top. So that's another one that we use. And those are specialty envelopes that we use. Okay, so that's just a couple other ideas for you. There's the advertorial. I did bring it. Yay. Okay, so let me read this to you really quick. So an advertorial, this one went in a community newspaper, and there are lots of community newspapers out there, or subdivision newspapers. Those are more the types of newspapers I like to put this in. So it looks like an article. Do you need to sell your home quickly? J&K Property Solutions can help. They are affiliated with a group of private lenders and purchase several houses per month. Houses just like yours in every area of the county and in every price range. They are not realtors, nor are they associated with any real estate firm. Now, folks, if you are a realtor, you can change the language of this so that it works better for you. This is just the one that I use in my business. For those of you who have my marketing magic system, this is in there for you. Okay, are you about to be transferred? Are you behind on payments or considering foreclosure? Is your home in need of repairs, divorce, estate sale, or maybe just tired of being a landlord? J&K Property Solutions buys houses from good people in all kinds of situations. J&K Property Solutions wants to solve your problem today. If you want to sell your home in the fastest and most convenient manner, they have a solution for you. Since they are not real estate agents, there are no large commissions to pay. They will simply purchase your home, relieving you of trying to sell it yourself. No more putting up with dozens of strangers tramping through your home. J&K Property Solutions will buy your home and free you from the burden and responsibility. They handle all the paperwork and make all the arrangements. They also have helped many people to realize the dream of owning their own home when conventional means have failed. Don't you owe it to yourself to call J&K Property Solutions today to find out about these quick, easy ways to sell your home? Call their office for a confidential consultation. They will be happy to answer all of your questions. Isn't that cool? I love this piece. And we've used this many, many, many times. Very, very inexpensive to run. So it's another way to find some highly motivated sellers. All right, the calling on ads campaign. All right, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. Okay, so you can call on for sale by owner ads, call on for rent by owner ads, Do not call on realtor ads. You're wasting your time. You'll use a specific telephone script for each type. You'll call on ads from newspapers, Facebook, neighborhood newspapers, Craigslist, that sort of thing. You can use these telephone scripts to call FSBOs that you drive by. So if you find a for sale by owner property as you're driving, write those down or take a picture of the sign also. You'll be reaching all kinds of sellers with these lists. But remember, these are people that already want to sell their house. We call between 5, we don't call. We have people that do this for us. So you're going to call between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Sunday evening, because again, we've tested and tracked what works the very best. And that's when the highest number of folks are at home. So between 5 and 9 p.m. on Sunday evening, get someone else doing this work for you as soon as you can. And then pay them by the completed script. And they will email the completed scripts to you. So what I do is I have someone who does this for me on Sunday evening. She calls all of these sellers. And then on Monday morning, she sends the sheets over to me and she'll write little notes on top of them. Call him now. Don't waste your time. Okay, stuff like that. Because she's been doing it for a while and she's gotten a really, really good feel for the sellers. But this is just another way for you to get more sellers coming into your pipeline that you don't have to go out and find. Okay, so that's just another thing that we do. All right, questions. All right, so before we get to questions, again, throw your questions in the chat box. For those of you who did not have a chance to grab my Marketing Magic system on the Thursday evening session that I did, you can get the Marketing Magic system, all of the bonuses and the rebate certificate that I offered. It's the whole deal is laid out for you at www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. So www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. And so we're going to make this offer on this call today for those of you who did not have the opportunity to get it on the Thursday night call. A lot of what I'm covering today is in the manual in all kinds of really good detail for you. All right, so let me go ahead and grab some questions. See what we got here. Going up. All right. Okay, so it's got all the ones from this morning too, so I've got to sort down here for a second. Okay, are your letters addressed generically to a potential seller? No. And that's real important. The way that we do it is like Mr. John Smith, estate of Mr. John Smith, whatever that might be. Make sure that the spelling is correct and make sure that everything is neatly addressed when you're addressing these envelopes. And make sure you handwrite the address and handwrite the return address. If you want to get the highest response rate from your sellers, take the time to do it right in the first place, and you will just get more and more deals. Let's see what else I got. So many nuggets. Thank you, Kimberly. What kinds of catchy things have you put on t-shirts to market to sellers? So a lot of my t-shirts have a house on them, and then the writing is usually like with inside the house. And we use a lot of different kinds of things on the t-shirts. I've got a ton of examples in my Marketing Magic system for you. We buy houses cash and our phone number. Sell your house quickly. We use a lot of different things. Same thing though, on a t-shirt, you don't have a lot of room to work with. And if you're walking by someone, you only have a minute or two or seconds actually to make that contact. So they're not real busy. They don't say a whole lot. So sell your house quickly. We buy houses cash, things like that. And that goes inside the house, and our phone number is big on the t-shirt. And so you don't put a whole lot of verbiage on there because you only have seconds to get their attention. All right, let's see. Do we have anything else here for right now? Got that one already. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. All right, so for those of you who want to grab a copy of the Marketing Magic System, go to www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. The price is $1,197. I also included you have consulting with me for 1 full year to answer any questions that you might have about your marketing. So I will hold your hand all the way through. You also have the opportunity to get a rebate certificate and get all of your money back for your system. You have a full year to do that. Go to www.kathysmarketingmagic.com and read all about that. The deal is all laid out there for you. All right, so we're going to move on here. All right, so the next thing that we are going to be talking about is vacant land. So I'm going to give you about a 10-minute break right now. Come back at about quarter after, I have 12 o'clock straight up. So come back about quarter after 12. Let's take about a 15-minute break. So you have a chance to go over to the website and take a look at the Marketing Magic System if you haven't already. Grab a drink, chill for a few minutes, and then come back in at quarter after 12, and we will be talking about making big profits, buying, selling, and leasing vacant land. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. All right, we'll be getting started in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so we have a question here that says, what's the website again? www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. Kathys marketingmagic.com. www. Actually, let me go ahead and print it in there. Oops. There you go. All right, we have a box in there and I don't know where that box is coming from. So I'm gonna have to work around it until I figure it out. All right. So one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, hey, Kathy, how did you get into vacant land to start with? Well, we had been in real estate investing about 10 years at that point because we've been buying and selling vacant land regularly for about the last 10 years. And we kayak for a hobby. And so we were going up to North Florida and we were going up on the weekends and we were renting a cabin or whatever. And then we would spend the weekend and we'd kayak and then we'd come back home. And then we decided it was kind of silly to be spending all that money all the time doing that when we could just buy our own place. And so we found an area up in North Florida that we really liked. And we bought a piece of vacant land and we built a home on it. Now, in the area where we live in North Florida, it's about 85% mobile homes and about 15% stick built. So we ended up building a log home just to be different. And so that's kind of how we got started with it. So our place isn't huge. It's about 1,800 square feet. We have 4 acres that's all fenced in. And the intent was that we were going to go up there. Actually, I'll show it to you because it's right there. And the intent was that we were going to go up there and just kind of chill and relax and, you know, close the gates and all of that, but it just didn't work out that way. So there was all this vacant land and it was all going, buy me, buy me, buy me. Because as many of you know, real estate investing is sort of an addiction. Once you get started, you just can't stop. And so that's kind of how we got started in the in doing vacant land. I developed a really special direct mail campaign that works incredibly well. So we use direct mail campaigns and we use some other things, some other ways to find vacant land. We're going to talk about that today. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Okay, never mind, it fixed. I was going to say I had another small problem, but I fixed it. Okay. So number one, why should you develop a marketing strategy to find profitable land deals? Well, to get highly motivated land sellers to contact you first. And let me tell you, they will. The response rate from this particular type of marketing is very, very high. Number two, buy land nobody knows about, including the sellers. These are sellers that know they have a problem they need to solve, even more than houses, but they have no idea how to solve that problem until they're contacted by you. And again, the response rate from this mailing is very high. We get a lot of people who inherited vacant land or who bought vacant land with the thought that they were going to build a vacation home or a home to retire to, and they never got to it. So there's a lot of reasons that people sell vacant land. You're going to implement strategies and systems that will net you highly profitable land deals. And then you're going to invest in vacant land for nickels on the dollars. I kid you not, folks. Buying vacant land is completely different than buying houses. So we need to just kind of change our mind frame over to the vacant land for a bit. For one thing, there's just not a lot of competition. There just isn't. A lot of folks just don't do this. And then a lot of the folks who do buy vacant land buy and flip it. And it drives me crazy. So we're going to talk a lot also about leasing and doing other things with vacant land, owner financing, leasing, things like that. So we have a lot to cover this afternoon. All right, so why direct mail marketing? Well, number one, to have an endless stream of motivated sellers literally begging you to take their vacant land off their hands. You control the number of pieces and when they go out. Folks, for me, this is not a huge direct mail campaign because the response rate is so incredibly high. You're going to create that response mechanism in the body of the letter. So the deals are pre-screened when they hit your desk. The response mechanism for vacant land obviously is completely different than it is for houses. You're going to reach sellers who would never learn about you otherwise. These are people out of the state. They're out of the area. They're not going to see the signage that you put out. They're not going to get a business card from you. They're probably not going to see an ad that you've run. This is the only way they'll ever hear about you. Direct mail has no competition in this particular instance. You're going to turn small marketing dollars into big profits. And I'm going to show you a few examples of that. And again, the response rates for finding vacant land and for this direct mail campaign are very, very high. So how do you find vacant land deals? Well, number one, direct mail marketing. Absolutely awesome. Tax certificates, tax deed sales. We buy property at tax deed sales fairly often. Websites. There are specific websites that you would want to work with. Signage, yard signs and vehicle signage. If you live in an area, I mean, like North Carolina, for example, and you put signage on your vehicle, I buy vacant land, know that you're going to get stopped and that people are going to call you from those ads because, again, the response rate is very, very high for this particular direct mail campaign and for the marketing that goes with vacant land. Okay. So let's talk about the target prospects for vacant land. Out-of-state owners, that's a huge one, guys. These are folks who inherited a property. They bought the property with the intention of building a home on it, either for retirement or for vacation, and they just never got around to it. And again, the response rate is just ridiculously high. Estates, lots of people inheriting vacant land. Tax deed sales. So once the taxes are not paid on a property, they then go to a tax deed sale and you can buy the property for the back taxes. Okay, so very, very inexpensive. Tax certificate lists. So in my area, and I forgot to bring one and I don't have one handy. Okay, I don't have it handy. The newspapers and your tax collector's office when you get to the tax certificate sales. Okay, so your property tax bill came out, your property tax bill went late, and then the property tax bill goes on a tax certificate list, and then this county sells tax certificates to pay for the back taxes on a property. Okay, so in our area, we are a tax certificate state. Florida is a tax certificate state. So they will put out lists, the tax collector's office and in the newspapers of all these properties that have late taxes. So that just gave me a mailing list to work with. So that's just one way to get these mailing lists. That's absolutely amazing. Past due taxes, obviously. You can get a list of folks whose taxes are just past due. Very easy to get. And we have resources for you for that as well. Inherited properties, obviously really good leads. Senior landowners, same thing. They bought this property with the intention of doing all kinds of things with it, and they just didn't get around to it. So those are the types of sellers that we work with. Now let's talk about for a moment the types of vacant land that we work with. So there are in-city pieces of property. Okay, so those are properties that are in urban areas. Okay, so they're in neighborhoods, they're in, areas with shops all around them and things like that. Rural, farmland and agricultural. Okay, and I do actually a little bit of all of this. I do mostly rural. So farmland, agricultural, that sort of thing. They are zoned farmland or agricultural. Commercial, so that would be like storage units, warehousing, that kind of stuff. So they face, these are commercial properties that like face a street. So for example, I have a lease with a commercial property, and they are actually an outpost, a canoe outpost. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways to lease or sell vacant land. And then there's industrial. So that would be like storage. And then the canoe outpost also has a separate piece of vacant land of mine that they use strictly for storing, canoes and kayaks and paddles and all of that kind of stuff. So these are the 4 different types of vacant land we'll be talking about: urban, rural, commercial, and industrial. Okay. So let me show you a couple of deals that I have done just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, so this is a little piece. It's about 1.5 acres, not a big piece of property. I paid $1,200 for this property. The property had a well on it. It had an electrical pole. So it had electric and it had a well. Interesting thing on this particular property was that the well was right on the property line between the 2 pieces of property, and both pieces of property were using that well. So the interesting thing happened was the next door neighbor to this particular piece of property bought that piece of land for their daughter. So I paid $1,200 when I bought this piece of property. I sold this piece of property on owner financing for $12,900. She gave us $2,000 down when she bought the property. So now I just got all my money back for what I paid for this property. So now I got the money again to buy another piece. You see, that's what's unusual about vacant land. You can't generally do that with a house. Okay, unless you're selling the house and it goes away. So I paid $1,200 for this property. I sold it for $12,900. I got $2,000 down, which covered what I sold, what I paid for it. And then I financed the balance of it at 8.5% for 5 years. And my total profit on this deal was $16,000. Is that pretty cool? I think so. Here's another one. This is 2 acres. It's fenced. It has a power pole. It has septic. It also had concrete pads. Got it through a tax certificate sale. So on this particular piece of property, let me go to the next page here. That's another picture of it. Okay, so we purchased it from a tax certificate. So we paid the taxes on 4, it's a 2-acre piece of land, okay? But it was 4 half-acre pieces of land that co-joined. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and they all were in the same family. So we paid the taxes on those 3 people. We bought the tax certificate for 3 years. And then we filed for a tax deed on this particular property. Believe me, it's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. So we bought 4 half-acre pieces that were co-joined. They were all in the same family. 3 years of taxes were $1,600. When I went to sell this particular piece of property, because we were going to retail this, we had a glitch, a title glitch on one of the pieces of land. We ended up having to do quiet title on that one piece, 1 half-acre piece. The quiet title cost us $2,000. So we were into this piece of property for a total of $3,600. We sold it as a 2-acre lot for $26,000. And the way that I sold this particular piece of land was, in our area, we are 85% mobile home, 15% stick built. So we hooked up with a mobile home dealer who packaged our piece of land with their home, sold the whole package to their seller. When their seller got financing for the whole deal, we got paid. Okay, is that pretty cool? Absolutely awesome. So there's some really good profits to be made here. Here's another one. This was in city limits. It was 100 by 200-foot lot in the city limits. It was zoned mixed use, which was very cool. It was mostly cleared. It was on a paved road. Now that's a big asset when you're buying vacant land, because in a lot of areas, the roads are gravel, or dirt or whatever. This particular piece of land, it was in city limits. It was on a paved road. It had no water. It had no septic, but it had a power pole. I paid $1,400 for this piece of land. I leased the piece of land for 18 months at $550 a month. So my total profit there was $9,900. So in 3 months, this piece of land paid for itself completely, and the rest was gravy, profit. Okay. Then in the end, after the 18 months, this was actually the canoe outpost. And so after the 18 months, we sold that piece of land because he was tired of paying us rent. So he bought the piece of land for $8,700, and our total profit on that was $17,000 and lots of perks. Kayaking is our hobby. So we got like shuttle, like they drop you in one area and then you paddle down the river and then they shuttle you back to where you started. So we've gotten shuttle. We've rented paddle boats from them at zero. So we've gotten some really cool spiffs with this one as well. So that's another one that we did. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's very easy for you to do these vacant land deals and get you all of your money back very, very quickly, even if you're keeping the piece of vacant land. So can I buy vacant land anywhere or just where I live? You can buy land anywhere. So for example, most of the vacant land that I'm buying is about 4 hours away. So basically what I've done is I have set up relationships. So you can go to Google Earth and look at a piece of vacant land. You can hook up with a realtor and have them go out to the piece of land and look at it for you. You can hook up with like an appraiser and have them go out and look at it for you. And what I do, the realtor that goes out and checks out pieces of vacant land, he sells some of our pieces of vacant land for us. So it's kind of a quid pro quo there. So we're both getting something out of that. So there's lots of different ways for you to get vacant land, to buy vacant land, even if you can't put your eyeballs on it, just like right from the beginning. So how do you fund vacant land deals? Well, this is easy. Your own money. Very, very, very often you'll buy a piece of land and you get your money back really quickly. You could put it on a credit card. You could use a Roth IRA. You can use your 401k. You could use private lenders or seller financing. We've bought several pieces that were seller financing. As a matter of fact, when we bought our piece of land, there was a 2-acre lot next to us that I wanted because I wanted to unify the two pieces and make it one big piece of land. So the initial piece that we bought was 2 acres, and I wanted the 2 acres that was next door to us. And so I wrote the gentleman a letter like every month, hey, when you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy. Hey, when you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy. And after about 7 or 8 months, he contacted me and said, okay, but the only way that I'm going to sell you this piece of land is $1,000 down and $100 a month until it's paid, because I don't want to deal with capital gains. Okie dokie, that worked for me. So seller financing is quite prevalent with vacant land deals. A lot of people will do that in order to get rid of their vacant land. So that's just another really good way for you to find these deals and fund these deals. So this is another question that comes. In fact, somebody asked this question a little bit ago. How do I get junk buildings removed at no cost to me and get a tax write-off? Folks, when I learned this technique, it changed the way I buy vacant land forever. Okay, a lot of people won't buy vacant land with junk on it. So if you have a house, I'm sorry, if you have a vacant piece of vacant land that you're looking at and it's got a junk mobile home on it, or it's got a junk, like a junk trailer or junk building on it or whatever, this is so cool. So what happened was, this is the piece of vacant land that we bought. This is the 2 acres next door to the 2 acres that we originally bought, that the seller owner financed for me. This is exactly how we got it. Looked just like this. My problem was getting rid of that old yucky mobile home. Now you can see that it's falling apart. So we couldn't simply put it on a trailer and take it off the property. So I made a few phone calls to figure out how we could get rid of this thing. And we ended up getting rid of it for free. I like free. Here's how we did that. So your local fire, in fact, we've since done it down here where I live in Bradenton, Florida, and we're in like a suburban city. And they do this everywhere. What happens is, so when like the fire departments and the EMTs and the paramedics are being trained, they got to train somewhere. And they got to learn how to put fires out, and they have to learn, how to like not get smoke inhalation and all of those things. And so what you can do is you can simply turn this over to the fire department and let them use it for a practice burn. And that's exactly what we did on this very first property that we did a practice burn. And it's so interesting. So about 6:30 in the morning, all these people show up at our piece of vacant land, and fire trucks and ambulances, and you'd have thought there was like something major going on. And so they burned this baby. Let's see, they burned it, and it's a controlled burn. They also took out the trees that were like really close to it, so those ended up getting taken out as well. And let's see, and they burned it some more. Until all that was left was the metal, the chassis basically that the mobile home was on. And what we ended up doing was we called somebody that does scrap, and they came and paid us to take that metal off the property because they're going to scrap it for even more. So basically this was this was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And that's what the piece of property looked like after it was done, after everything was done. And so it took a while, for the grass to grow and everything like that. So actually, let me pop back a couple pictures. Oh, I don't want to pop back that far. Okay. Anyway, so now it has like grass and everything on it, and it's really, really beautiful. And so that's how we ended up learning how to get vacant land cleared for us. And the reason that it becomes a tax write-off is because you just made a donation. Okay, so it's just absolutely amazing, 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 amazing. You will be able to buy a lot of pieces of vacant land that nobody else will or wants to, because they don't know how to do this. So this is a really good tool in your toolbox to have. All right, so let's talk about results from one of our mailings. This is so cool. We mailed out 147 letters to test a list based on specific criteria that I used for this direct mail campaign. We got 19 leads, a 13% response rate, and we bought 7 pieces of those pieces of vacant land. Is that incredible or what? We ended up selling 3 of them, and we leased 4 of them. Okay, how many we lease and how many we sell just depends on how the property comes to us and how the property will come to you. And then what your personal desires are. Do you need cash right now, or are you looking for some long-term income? So it just depends on what you want to do. So in this particular, from this one direct mail campaign, mailing out 147 letters, 19 leads, 7 pieces, we sold 3 of them, we leased 4. So about almost half and half. All right. So this is another case where you are totally going to create that mini credibility kit that we talked about earlier today. So in that credibility kit, you are going to put your business card, information about your title company, information about your real estate attorney, if that's how you close, private lender information, personal reference letters with contact information. These folks will check you out. They will make phone calls and they will check you out because they want to make sure that you can close on that property. Okay. So how do we sell vacant land? These are just a few different ways that we use to sell vacant land. I do have a product, it's called Vacant Land Gold, and in my Vacant Land Gold, there are a whole bunch more. So signage on your vacant land. So you're just going to put signage on there. Now, if you're going to put signage on your vacant land, I would suggest putting it up in a tree. One, it won't disappear, and two, it's easier to see when people are driving down the road. You can list on Facebook, Trulia, Craigslist. You can list them with a realtor, and we do list some with the realtors that we work with up there, so that when I need to put eyes on a property that I'm getting ready to buy, they have no problem going right over there and checking it out for me. Offering owner financing. And I do that a lot, just like the one that was Rebecca, that one I showed you earlier, the 1.5 acres. She gave us $2,000 down, and then we owner financed it for her. Her payments on that were about $290 a month. So it wasn't anything difficult for her to handle either. And she actually put a mobile home on that property. Her parents helped her buy a mobile home, and she put a mobile home on that property. So owner financing works really, really great. You can auction the land. That's another way to sell vacant land. You can work with a developer or a home dealer. We do that a lot. So if you have pieces of vacant land that are larger, like 3 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, you can work with a developer, a home developer in your area, and have them package the home with your land. Okay, so that's just another way. We just work a lot with mobile home dealers because that's primarily what we have where we live. You can talk with commercial developers. So here's what I did. I found out about this completely accidentally. So there is a commercial developer who builds freestanding businesses, many of which you've seen where you live. I won't go into that. And so they basically will either buy or lease land from you. Then they build a building, whatever store it is on that piece of property, and then they do a franchise. So they franchise the land and the building to whoever that person is. It's a really profitable scenario, both for the developer and for you. Talk to neighbors. This is actually one of my best, funniest stories with regard to vacant land. Talk to neighbors. So when you buy a piece of land, talk to the neighbors that are around you, because they may need extra vacant land, like for pasture land, or whatever that, or storing an RV or whatever that might be. So here's a situation. I bought a 2-acre piece of land, vacant land, mostly cleared, no electrical, no power, no well, nothing, no septic, just a piece of vacant land. And so I talked to the neighbor, and our neighbor has an agricultural worm farm. And so he needed more land to expand his worm farm. And so he ended up actually leasing that piece of land from us in the beginning, and then he ended up buying it from us. So what happens is, agricultural worms, that they're in tubs with tubes between them. So you got a tub and a tube and a tub and a tube, and he needed more land to expand his operation. And I've learned more about agricultural worms in the last couple of years than I ever knew. And so that's, so talk to the neighbors. You can list them on the MLS and sell them either yourself or have a realtor represent you. You can list them on landflip.com, ranchflip.com. There are several websites. In my vacant land system, I have more websites that you can list your vacant land on. So there's several different ways to sell vacant land. Leasing vacant land strategies. This is just a small piece. Okay, there's lots. Talk to the neighbors, just like I just said. Billboard companies. If you own a piece of land on a main road, now there are some specific criteria that billboard companies have to meet in order to be able to put the billboard on your piece of land. But billboard companies are awesome to work with. You can do lease options, you can do owner finance, because generally speaking, you get most or all of your money back. Here's another example. I partnered with someone on a piece of vacant land. And I have 166, we have 166 acres that gets leased for hunting camp. So for hunting lots. So that's another way that you can make money with vacant land. Storage, storage for RVs, a storage building, boats, cars, lots of choices there. Parking. I have a piece of vacant land. It's about 3/4 of an acre. It's in town. It's right near a stadium. And every time the stadium has games or practice games and people come to watch, we charge for parking on our piece of vacant land. So that's another cool way. Pasture land, urban nurseries. This is another one that's my personal love. I'm a plant lover. Um, Urban nurseries don't plant things in the ground. They're planted in pots so that they can sell them to people. So urban nurseries are a really, really good way to lease vacant land. They have to have somewhere to store and put all of these plants that they have for sale. A community garden. This is very, very cool. I actually have one of my students here locally in Bradenton who is doing a community garden in town. He's got a half an acre, and what they do is they lease small plots so people can grow their plants, their vegetables, whatever they want. So community gardens. Landscape companies, this is something else. I've had pieces of land, 2 acre, 3 acre, 5 acre that I've used for this. Landscape companies need to store stuff. They need to store mulch. They need to store railroad ties. They need to store rock for projects that they are doing. So it's a really good way to lease a piece of vacant land, and they're not damaging your vacant land in any way. So that's another idea. Pine straw. This is cool. We have pieces of land with pine needles, with pine trees on them. They have to be specific types of pine trees, but we got the right ones. So the pine straw companies will pay us to clean our land up, basically, and clean up all that pine straw. And they use it for mulch and furniture stuffing, which I thought was pretty interesting. Solar arrays. If you live in an area, I have students in Texas, for example, who are doing wind farms and solar arrays. Larger piece of vacant land, long-term lease, okay, very long-term lease, probably 25, 30 years. Okay, so that's another way. And that's something that you need to think about when you're leasing your vacant land. How long do you want to lease your piece of vacant land? Because that's going to determine what you put on that piece of vacant land. Hunting camps, I just talked about that. Look at your own demographic for opportunities. Some demographics are different than others. All of you folks live in different places. So another idea to lease vacant land, for example, are tiny homes. Glamping is another thing that's very popular. So look at your demographic. I actually have 26 different techniques that I show, and so examples and exactly how to do it in my system on how to lease vacant land. If you look at your own demographic where you live, you're going to find other strategies that I may not have mentioned. You may have mineral rights, for example, and that may be something that you do where you live. So just look at your own demographic for opportunities. Long-term land leases, so farming, businesses, pasture, things like that would be solar arrays, of course, farming, crops, stuff like that are long-term leases. Temporary leases, those are fun. I have a piece of land that is an acre on a main highway. Can't do a lot with it because it's an acre of land. So we do temporary leases. So we lease it during the winter time. We lease it for Christmas tree lots. We just got done leasing it because I live in Florida. And someone who had a booth, a large booth, for selling all kinds of Buccaneer gear for the Super Bowl, and they were selling all kinds of Super Bowl gear. I've done vegetable stands with that piece of land. So all kinds of different short-term leases that you can do, temporary leases. So that's another way to use your vacant land. So there are so many strategies to build long-term income with vacant land, and nobody is doing it. Folks, once you sell a piece of vacant land, it's gone forever. And they can't like make another one. You know, it's like not where they build houses and you can buy those. It doesn't happen like that. So I just really feel like leasing vacant land is a really, really good strategy for you to build long-term income and in increasing the value of the vacant land as you're going along. Okay, so let's talk about increasing the value of your vacant land. Okay, so there's a few different ways to do that. You buy a piece of vacant land, you can increase the value. One way is to get a survey or at least locate the markers and mark them so a person can see where the markers are, you know, and how big exactly that piece of vacant land is. Just like with a house, you want to give it some curb appeal. So we don't clear them completely. We clear like the frontage so the person can kind of see what's going on. If there's a lot of underbrush, I'll get my landscape guy out there to clear some of the underbrush and get it looking kind of really nice. If there's junk on it, you know, like people are throwing cups out their windows and stuff like that, we clean all that up. So you just want to kind of give it some curb appeal. On a larger parcel, you can subdivide and then sell the piece of vacant land. Okay. So you can go ahead and like buy, for example, like 20, 30, 40 acres, whatever, larger, a little smaller, 25 acres, and then use an engineer, have it subdivided and then sell the whole piece that way. That increases the value of vacant land. You can change the zoning. We do that a lot. So changing the zoning, for example, from agricultural to soft industrial, light industrial. So then you can put like like an accountant's office or like a daycare center. That's what they call it, like light industrial. We leased a piece of vacant land to a gentleman who has a shop that sells and sharpens saws. So that's like light industrial. Okay. The more amenities your property has, the more valuable it is. So power, concrete pads, water, gas, maybe if that's what you have where you live. It just depends. So for us, the power company will come out and put a power pole on the property, and there's no big cost involved in that. So we always do that. We always put a power pole on a piece of land, even if we don't add anything else. Okay, so those are some ways to increase the value of a piece of vacant land. Now, I want you to do your due diligence when you are buying vacant land. This is really important. So take a look at the land or have someone take a look at the land for you. What is the current zoning? Is it easy for you to change zoning if you want to? What's the topography of the land? All of our land is flat. You guys have in North Carolina, you have land like on hills and things like that. Is it really rocky? Is it really sandy? So you want to check out what the topography of the land is and then determine if you're going to be able to use it. Are there leases? Are there liens or tax obligations on that property? You want to know that ahead of time. What type of utilities does it already have? Are the utilities easy to add? Are they local? Are they easy to, so if it's like where we live, septic tanks are the big thing. So you want to have a perk test, PERC, perk test. That's what that's called where I live. And a perk test will tell you whether or not you can put a septic tank on the piece of land. That's part of your due diligence. Is it easy to run electricity to it? Is it easy to run broadband, that kind of stuff? Is there broadband available? So these are things you want to check. Are there any usage restrictions? So for example, if the piece of land is inside of a subdivision, are there usage restrictions? Do you have to build a house? Does it have to be a certain number of acres? Whatever. Is there access to the land or is the land landlocked? Okay, so those are some good ones too. There's a piece of land behind our property that we are attempting to buy. It's 7 acres and it's landlocked. But if I buy that piece of property, it abuts my piece of property. So all I have to do is take my fencing down, add it to mine, and I got 7 more acres. So you got to make sure that there's access to the land. Is there an access road? Is it a deeded access road? So these are things that you want to look into. Nothing difficult. You just need to do your due diligence. Can it be subdivided? Because that's an option. What do neighboring properties look like? Okay, so if you've got a piece of property next door to you that's loaded with garbage, you might want to think twice. Okay, just an idea. Do you have a survey, or can you check the markers? Okay, so it's important to figure out where your piece of property starts and stops. Do you need to have a perk test or other testing done where you live? Perk test is something that's a requirement for us here in Florida in order to put septic on a property. Most of the land that I am buying is not in the city in North Florida. The property here in Bradenton is, and so everything here is public utilities, but up there it's not. So you just have to look into that and see what the utilities look like where you're looking to buy this piece of vacant land. Okay. And again, in my manual, I cover due diligence in detail for you. Where do I get the list? I know that's the question that always burns on folks' hearts. First thing to do is to go to your property assessor's office or your tax collector's office and get the lists that you need to prepare these mailings. Again, this is a list that you're going to use repetitively. I still want you to do residual mailings. The response rate to these mailings is very high. So check off the folks of properties that you've gotten responses from, and then continue to mail to the balance of the folks on that particular list. Again, when we start working together today, I provide the resources for list brokers for you to also get these lists. So there's lots of different ways to get these lists, and they're not expensive. So let's talk about keys to your success or failure when you are buying vacant land. Number one, you've got to target the right prospects, okay? You want to target the folks who are the most likely to want to work with you and sell you a piece of vacant land. Now, once again, vacant land, the response rate on these mailings is very, very high. And you don't have a lot of competition for this at all. There just aren't very many people who are doing the vacant land business, mostly because they just don't know how. I have students in my customer base that have been customers of mine for 10, 15 years and are like, wow, I can't believe you came up with this system. I've been wanting to do vacant land, but I just don't know how. I just don't know enough about it. And so now they do. All right. You've got to still make it easy for the seller to respond. So give them as many ways as you can. Give them a mailing address. Give them an email address. Give them a phone number, give them a fax number. Give them a website address if you have it. With me, I don't use a website address at all when I do these mailings. The response rate is just too high already. And you're really reaching a lot of folks that are more, it's just more of a personal, that they're not like businesses that own pieces of vacant land, they're people. And so we kind of really keep it more personal. Use the right language. And
that's what Brad just said.
When you're doing this letter, obviously the response mechanism is going to be focused on questions that have to do specifically with vacant land. Use a proven list. This one's really easy for vacant land because you can use past due tax lists, the lists from the tax collector's office, the lists from the property assessor's office. So it's real easy to get these lists and know that they are proven lists. Use a proven system. I don't want you going out there reinventing the wheels, folks. I want you to use something that you know works. I want you to be able to have the right tools in front of you if you are going to start investing in vacant land. You need to be able to do the proper due diligence. You need to be able to find the pieces of vacant land. You need to be able to do all of that. Be consistent with your marketing. So whether you're doing signage on your vacant land, whether you're doing signage on your vehicle, whether you're using direct mail marketing, you need to be very consistent with your marketing. I see questions piling up. I will grab those in just a couple of minutes when we get to a break point.
No, who's
Take the
Donna?
time to
Oh,
follow
Donna
up
paying
with
attention to
these
that.
motivated sellers, folks.
What's the name of
Take
that
the
team?
time to follow up with these motivated
Oh,
sellers.
Hey,
Use the
hey,
autoresponder
I'm sorry.
system.
I can't.
Use the
I'm not.
postcards. The
it's
way that
all
I
right.
do this is for the ones who have computers, we use an autoresponder system, right?
See,
So
you
you
mute
write
her.
the email once and then you set it to send it to the seller like every 30 days. And the message is very simple. Hi, folks. It's Kathy again. When you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy. Hey, Merry Christmas. When you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy. Very simple, very easy. Same thing with the ones that do not have a computer, we use postcards. And it's the same thing. Hi, Mr. Smith, it's Kathy again. When you're ready to sell, I'm ready to buy. So very, very, very simple. You need to take the time to follow up with these sellers. And you'll do a ton of more deals. The majority of the deals that you are going to buy are going to come from your first through second contact with these sellers. This is completely different than buying houses.
That's the coach's daughter.
So let's talk about response rates from sequential mailings. These are mine and my students all over the country. On the average, first mailings, 8 to 13%. That just easy. Second mailings, 14 to 15% to the same sellers. Folks, residual is key.
Right
If you
there.
didn't get a response from that seller, repeat the mail. Okay.
Right there. Yeah. Oh yeah, I see.
So here's a couple of letters from a couple of my students for you. This is Mike. Mike is down here in Florida. He mailed out 200 letters to out-of-state vacant land owners. He got 18 responses and did 5 deals. Kathy, I just wanted to let you know of my success using your vacant land system. As you know, I just got it recently and did my first mailing of 200 letters. I've gotten 21 responses so far. I never thought it would be that high. And I've got 5 land deals under contract. You were right. These sellers are really motivated. I will let you know how it all turns out. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Mike. And he's down here in Florida. And honestly, you're talking about nickels and dimes on the dollar on these properties. This is Jeff. Jeff is in North Carolina. This was in February that I got this letter. I got your vacant land system a couple of months ago and decided to try it out. Thanks for the quick start guide. It was super helpful. I sent out my first mailing of 100 letters and got a vacant lot under contract for $1,000. The owner had passed away and the heirs live out of state. They were tired of paying taxes on it. I decided to flip this one to another investor that I know for $6,500. Not a huge profit, but for 100 letters and about a half an hour of my time, I'm good. I'm ready to do more deals. Thanks so much, Kathy. Jeff, North Carolina. Jeff was actually so excited that he went ahead and jumped into my coaching program.
Kathy,
And so he is now coaching with me as well. I'm going to take just a second and look what's going on up here because we've got a ton of stuff going on up here.
Pauline, she wears pants. And she had to have a slip on.
I'm just checking.
Number 11 right here, Leon, a pretty big piece.
Oh, I hear it. Okay, can you guys please mute yourselves so that
Hey, Kathy, I think she's at a game or something, so I don't think she will be able to hear you. And I don't think she's not reading
okay,
the messages.
I just muted
Yeah.
I just muted Yolanda. Hold
Okay,
on.
there you go.
No problems. We got it.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is Jeff and he's in North Carolina. And so he mailed out 100 letters and about a half an hour of his time. And he made a $5,500 profit on this particular property and sold it really quickly. So vacant land is absolutely awesome. All right, so there we go. All right, so I know the next question that you're asking is, do I have to do all the work? Well, absolutely not. But the work isn't that difficult if you choose to do it. Because honestly, we're only mailing a couple hundred letters at a time. The response rate to this mailing is huge. So we really only mail like a couple hundred letters at a time. So let's talk about marketing on autopilot. Number one, you're going to implement the targeted direct mail campaign that you want to do. So you can do this by the subdivision, by the area of town, by zip code range. So there are different ways for you to customize the list that you want to mail out to. For me, I'm mailing out to an entire county, and then within that county, there are specific subdivisions that I like to mail in. And so that's the way that we do it. Have a part-time person do the work for you, okay? Very, very simple to find a person. It could be a stay-at-home mom. It could be one of your own children. It could be a high school student, college student, whatever. Lots of people that are looking to do work. Mail the letters, okay? Just get them out of here. Get them out, get them out, get them out. Start working on the responses. Contact these sellers. Once again, you have the response mechanism in the letter. So you're going to get most of the information that you need from these sellers in order to determine whether or not there's a deal there to be made. Number 5, do some deals. And number 6, sell or lease your vacant land, or owner finance your vacant land, or whatever you feel is best for your business. It's that simple. I have also created relationships with companies who will do all of the work for you. All you have to do is provide them with the letter and the list, and they will do the rest of the work for you. So it's really, really easy to implement and get this going, because the numbers of letters that you have to send out in order to get a really big response is much less than it would be when you're buying houses. Vacant land is just killer, guys. It just really is. I love it. This is Ted. Ted's in Tennessee. I just wanted to send you a quick email to update you on my progress since implementing your vacant land system. I was so glad to be one of your students and get this system also, since I'm already a Marketing Magic student as well. I can't believe how much momentum is going already. I've gotten 15 responses in 2 weeks, and I've written offers on 3 of the ones from last week so far, and 2 of those contracts came back signed from the sellers. So we got 15 responses in 2 weeks. He wrote offers on 3 of the ones from the prior week, and so far 2 of those contracts came back signed from the sellers. That's pretty typical, a pretty typical type of response. Thank you for putting together such an amazing system, and thanks for answering all of my questions. Your system is going to increase my bottom line in a serious way. Folks, do me a favor while I'm going through this, go ahead and throw any questions that you may have in the chat box. You should have a bunch. So let me show you what my combined results look like for the last 12 months. We got a 13% response rate overall, creating a 6-figure income in land sold, and then numerous monthly residential payments and lease or residential leases on vacant land. So we do a lot of the leasing of vacant land because I really like the longer term income than going ahead and selling all of it. But we do a lot. It's really easy for us. It gives us a chance to go to our vacation home. It gives us an excuse to go to our vacation home, because if I have like 6 or 7 responses from sellers and we've kind of put together a deal, we go up and we take a look at all of them at the same time. So it's a really great excuse for us to force ourselves to go to our vacation home and spend some time. So we really like that a lot. All right. So I know the next question that's burning on your heart is, so Kathy, how can I start making the same big profits and income that you do from vacant land? And how can I get my money back on your system so there's no cost to me whatsoever? So I am going to make a very special offer to a very few of you on the phone today, because I know my vacant land system works. And we are going to make an offer where you can get your money back on your system. So here's what you're going to learn. Here's everything that's in the vacant land system. And this is important. How to have an endless stream of motivated sellers begging you to buy their land. What contracts and disclosures to use. Folks, my system includes the contracts and the disclosures for you. This is so you get all of the forms with the system. how to increase the value of vacant land, 12 ingenious ways to sell vacant land, 26 creative ways to lease vacant land, because we added a couple more, how to do deals with tax liens and tax deeds. And I explain all of that to you and how to do the research. Find the sellers who don't want to be found, where to get the money to buy vacant land, and how to physically find pieces of vacant land. Guys, this is important. So now you got the deal. Where's the land? So there's a property tax ID number that every piece of property has. And I explained to you exactly how to read those tax ID numbers and how to find the physical piece of vacant land. And that's really, really important. We hadn't talked about that earlier. So you want to be able to find the piece of vacant land that you're looking for. You have to understand that if vacant land has never had anything on it, it will not have a physical address. Generally speaking, it will not have a physical address. If there was a home on it and the home's been removed and now the land is vacant, it will have a physical address. Okay, so that's what my system includes. So there are complete step-by-step direct mail campaigns in there for you. Complete directions to automate the system and get it into someone else's hands. The quick start guide, which is very cool. So in the front of the manual, there is a quick start guide that kind of walks you through everything that's in there and what you need to do. All of the forms are in there, the contracts, the evaluation sheets, the letters, your letter of intent, the disclosures, all of that is included in the system. Folks, this is a complete system to buy, lease, and sell vacant land. There is a resource kit in there for you, which includes all of the list brokers and the mail companies to do the mailings for you. I explained to you how to buy tax certificates and tax deeds. And I will tell you that when I did this product, I actually had one of the top trainers in the country on tax certificates and tax deeds go over this section of my manual to make sure that everything was done correctly. Okay, just to double check everything that we did. That's what it looks like. Okay. Your investment in my system today is going to be only $1,497. But since we are doing this special Zoom class today, and I have not done an event for TRIA before, for Triangle REIA, I am going to offer a special offer. Folks, this is a very short time offer. Right now, my system is on sale on my website for $1,197. I am going to offer a special discount today of $500 for the first 5 motivated investors who take action right now, making your investment only $997. Folks, that is a super special that I am offering. Take action right now. You are also going to receive the following bonuses totaling over $5,500 for the first 5 motivated investors who take action right now. And you're going to learn how you can own the entire system at no cost to you whatsoever. So go to www.tria.vacantlandgold.com, www.tria.vacantlandgold.com. I'll leave that up for a second so you can write it down. And go on over there. The whole deal is laid out for you. Everything that we're offering is there. It explains to you how to get the rebate certificate. And all of that. So go ahead and take a look at that and then come back because I'm going to go through some more stuff. www.tria.vacantlandgold.com. Okay. All right. So included in the system is my personal $1 million resource kit that has a value of $497. That's where you're going to find the list brokers. That's where you're going to find the companies to do the mailings for you. That's where you're going to find companies that can do like t-shirts and signage and all of that at discounted pricing. So there's lots of great stuff in there. That has a value of $497. You are also going to get a copy of my personal book called Real Estate Principles, Your Personal Path to Prosperity. That's a $19.95 value. So you're going to get a copy of that as well. You have 1 full year. You're going to receive a consulting certificate from me, folks. You have 1 full year to work directly with me. You can email any question that you have regarding your marketing for vacant land. You'll be getting my personal email address. I will work with you step by step on any marketing question that you have. So if you have, a question on where to get the list or anything like that, I will work with you. It's a $4,500 value. It is available to the first 5 folks who take action today and invest in my system. Folks, I also offer a 30-day free look enrollment plan. Give us a deposit of $997 today, knowing that if my system isn't every single thing I told you it was going to be, you have a full 30 days to get it back to us. I just think that's absolutely fair. That's lots and lots of time to take a look at it, go through it. To be perfectly honest, I have never, ever had a return on my vacant land system at all. There's nothing like it out there, nothing. Those couple of systems that are out there are buy and flip. Nothing talks about buy and lease or buy and hold or buy and owner finance. I cover all of that for you. So how many folks would take my system today if it was absolutely free? Well, I know you can't make any noise for me, but let me tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to make the same offer that I made for my marketing magic system. I am going to offer an incentive rebate. Folks, when you do a deal using my direct mail campaigns, my vacant land direct mail campaigns, within the next 12 months, folks, you have no excuse not to get started today. You have 12 months to get this done. Send me a copy of your testimonial letter, proof that you did the deal, and a copy of your profit check, and I will refund the entire investment of $997, and you keep the system and all of the bonuses. Now, why would I do that? I'm a crazy person. That's why. I am also going to offer you $6,000 in bonuses. You need to be one of the first 5 to take action right now to get my vacant land gold system, all of the discounts and the bonuses valued at $6,000 and the rebate certificate. Go to www.treia.vacantlandgold.com. Or you can call the office in the next I'd give it about a half an hour. Call the office at 941-792-5390, 941-792-5390. Or you go to www.treia.vacantlandgold.com. The whole offer is laid out there for you. The reason that I am offering the rebate certificate for you folks is this is the best way that I know for you to get it done. There's nobody else who has a system out there like this for you. And so I want you to be successful. I want you to find these vacant land deals. I want you to make some profits. I want you to make some long-term income. And this is the best way that I know for you to get my system and not put it on a shelf, never to be seen again. So let's go ahead. Let's go in and take a look at our chat and let's see what kind of questions that we have. All right. Okay, let me see. I got to go back. All right, got that all squared away. Okay, as a wholesaler, would I do the same 70% rule with vacant land if I want to assign the contract? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can actually go to 75% because there's plenty of profit made and it's not like you have to do a bunch of rehab or anything like that. Vacant land is a completely different animal. All right, let's see. What if you have vacant land and the neighbor has a ton of their stuff on it, boats, cars, dog houses, etc.? Am I allowed to have it moved off or what is the best way to go about it? Okay, you can do a couple of things there. You can do a few things here. If you have a piece of vacant land and the neighbor has a bunch of their junk on it, call a company and have it all removed. If it's cars and boats, call a tow truck, call a tow company and have them take it away. It's not their property. Now, what you can do is give them a warning letter. I always give them a warning letter. I give them a 30-day letter. And when you call the police, because they're going to call the cops on you when you have their stuff removed, it's really good when you have documentation. So what I would do is I would simply write them a 30-day letter telling them you have 30 days to remove your property from my piece of vacant land. If not, I will have it all removed. You will be billed. You will be responsible for me removing all of the stuff that's on that piece of vacant land. You can contact that neighbor and see if they want to buy that piece of vacant land, see if they want to lease that piece of vacant land. If you own that property and somebody else has their junk all over it, you are 100% entitled to remove it. Okay. All right. Next question. And then bill them for it. Right. Absolutely. Okay. What's our recourse if you lease the land to farm, etc., and they start missing payments? The same type of an eviction that you would do on a normal situation. What we generally do, though, is when we lease a piece of property for farming, we do a long-term lease and then they pay like 6 months or a year of the lease up front. It's not the same as a house. Okay, so you really don't have those types of problems. So when I lease land for farming, for example, or pasture land, we actually have one piece of land that's leased for goats, for feeding goats. It's so interesting. They pay their lease up front 6 months to a year in advance. So that's kind of the way that we do that. All right. Couldn't remember if we were supposed to send questions privately to Kathy, but as a wholesaler, do I simply follow the 7? Okay, where do you answer that question? Let's see. Answered that question. Okay, if you guys have any other questions, throw them at me. Question in there about the practice burn. That's absolutely an awesome way for you to have junk removed from a piece of vacant land. It could be like if it's a wood frame home, or if it's a building like a shed of some kind, or a mobile home, or whatever that might be. I'll give you another example of getting things, of ways to get stuff removed from a piece of vacant land. I actually have a student in Texas who should know better, but he bought a piece of vacant land sight unseen. And when they closed on the piece of vacant land, he saw the piece of vacant land and there were tires all over it. And so what he ended up doing was stacking the tires, and they made berms. So they ended up making berms on, I forget how, it was like 10 acres. And so there were tires everywhere. And so they actually took those tires and they made berms on the property. And that property ended up being used as a shooting range, as a practice shooting range. So you just got to get a little bit creative and kind of think about what you're doing, with your vacant land and how you can use your vacant land. So that's another really cool way. So go over to www.tria.vacantlandgold.com. If you wait just a few minutes, you can give the office a call at 941-792-5390 if there's any questions that you have that you might need the answer to. Okay, I've got another question popping in here. Somebody told me recently in North Carolina they had to pay $10,000 to move a mobile home. Does that sound typical? And does it typically cost more to move a mobile home than a house? Vice versa, it costs more to move a house than a mobile home. 10,000 is a lot. Depends on where they moved it to, though. So if they moved it from North Carolina to Florida, $10,000 might not be an unlikely number. So you absolutely, if you have a mobile home and you want to take it off the property and move it somewhere else, you can. Or if you want to, that's something else that we've done. We've taken a piece of vacant land and put a mobile home on it and then rented the mobile home and the land. So that's something else that we do. That's another option that you have. So you have all kinds of options. You can buy a piece of vacant land in a subdivision and build a house. There's just all kinds of things that you can do. And every area has different opportunities. So you have more opportunities, I think, in North Carolina probably than we do down here in Florida, because you have so much vacant land. North Carolina is such a beautiful part of the country. There are so many people that want to be there. So you guys have a lot more opportunities probably than we even do down here in Florida. So anyway, go over to www.tria.vacantlandgold.com, www.tria.vacantlandgold.com. If your order went through, you are one of the first 5. So that's another question answered. If anybody else has any other questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat box. Otherwise, I am going to call it a day. We actually got done a little earlier than I anticipated today. Part of that goes to the questions. If we don't have a lot of questions, then, okay, let me just go in here and look. All right. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and throw them in there. We still have a large group of people on. I appreciate everybody being with us today. I hope what I did was valuable for you. Lots of really great marketing techniques when you're buying houses, some awesome, yes, there, okay, somebody just asked, are there 2 separate systems? That is correct. If you want the Marketing Magic system with the 12 direct mail campaigns, go to www.kathysmarketingmagic.com, kathysmarketingmagic.com, Kathys. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and post a message in here, www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. Okay, that's the Marketing Magic system. And then the Vacant Land Gold system is www.trea.vacantlandgold.com. The Vacant Land Gold product is $997. The Marketing Magic system is $1197. When we work with you, is it through phone or email? My consulting is strictly email, and I will answer any marketing question that you might have. I have a separate coaching program where we do weekly phone calls, go through your deals, put offers together, and all of that. So this is strictly email. And I like the email because I travel a lot. I always have a laptop or an iPad with me. They call me the fastest guru in the north, south, east, and west because I'm very, very responsive when you guys have questions. I'm really good about answering questions very quickly because it's really, really important for me for you to be very, very successful with what you're doing. So, all right. So if we do not have any other questions, well, here we go. Is the coaching directly with me? Hi, Donna. Thank you for asking that question. Yep. You're stuck with me. I don't pawn my coaching off on anybody else. I only have like 2 coaching spots open right now because my life's work is not coaching. It's doing deals, working with sellers and all of that. So I do coaching on Mondays and Tuesdays. And I just have like 1 or 2 spots open right now in my coaching program. With the Marketing Magic, can I use the same contracts that you use? Or will I have to have an attorney review them? I do not have contracts included in the Marketing Magic system. The Marketing Magic system is 12 direct mail campaigns and 24 additional marketing techniques and samples of all of them. And you get 12 months of consulting with me on any marketing question that you may have. On the Vacant Land Gold system, yes, I would absolutely suggest to have an attorney take a look at the contracts to make sure that everything is right. So the disclosures are there, the contracts are there, and all of that is included in the Vacant Land Gold product strictly for buying and leasing and selling vacant land. So yeah, they are 2 completely different systems. Hope everybody got that. Okay, so any other questions before we call it a day? It's almost 1:30, so we're actually getting done a little earlier than I anticipated. Okay, it's because we didn't have like a whole lot of questions. So if you guys have any other questions, let me know because we are about done here. Ugh. Okay, got one more question. Okay, thank you, Kathy. It was an awesome presentation. I appreciate that. I enjoyed doing it. You guys had a very unique opportunity because I don't do a lot of these 1 days on Saturdays. I am so grateful for Triangle REIA for inviting me, and I thank them from the bottom of my heart for having me on the call today. I hope that what I did for you was informative. I don't do these Saturdays very often. I appreciate everyone who stayed with us. Everybody stayed with us right to the end, and I appreciate that so much. So thank you, everyone. So once again, just one last time, for the marketing magic system for buying houses, it is www.kathysmarketingmagic.com. And the vacant land gold product is www.treia.vacantlandgold.com. Okay, so those are the two websites. And I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. I see that we don't have any more questions. Everything that's coming through now are thank yous. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being on the call. Have an awesome, awesome day. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Thanks a lot. Bye.